rhythm. Monk on the beat. Monk on the beat.
Woo! What is up, YouTube? My Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the latest update on our very own Dallas Cowboys, and of course, as always, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Take a second to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us on all social media at MyCowboysFamily, and of course, hop the Discord link for that's in the description box down below.
Yeah. Another one, and we finally did something here. On the first official day of free agency,
I was going to say, it only took a little while, technically, to finally get our Cowboys to, get off the couch, I guess, get off the yacht.
Get off the schneid. Yeah, so we'll talk about what the Cowboys did here in a couple of minutes. We got a lot of things to do and shout out, starting with the man, the top dog, DB, the OG, with the Dak drop, a $4 in-stream holler, the first one here on the board.
You know what he said?
What did the man say?
Go Cowboys.
Yeah, Cowboys. Hell yeah.
Thank you so much, Dwayne. Kicking things off officially there with that drop. Go Cowboys. Appreciate you, of course.
And like the wife said, hit the like, subscribe, notification bell, all that good stuff. We're going to talk about the Niners, the 40-winers a little bit because they are relative to the move we made today. And some guys we lost. Jerry even some hot water, so to speak. We'll discuss hot water, but look, cooling off a little bit for him. I'll explain that as well here. Actually, that's the first time I'll discuss. But before we get to all of that, news, info, and updates on our Cowboys, we got to talk about the people representing the boards here for us this week. Starting off with the sponsor of the week, the Bram Man.
Jeremy Bramlett.
Part of the fam here. Much love to him. An OG. You see him there as the sponsor of the week. Can't do this without him. He showed up and showed out. Appreciate him. Took over. Snapped the McLovin streak and took over the top spot. McLovin's at it again because he's still the Cash App King for 5 on it. 5 straight weeks, over a month. McLovin is loving the top spot right now. Appreciate you. And also Jason Renfro, Stream Boss, 91 points, repping it there. He's also repping it. Well, I'll explain in a minute. He's repping it on the boards and other places, but the gifting champion is Jeremy Bramlett. He had 3 out of the 4 starting off the week when it came to our top boards here. He lost that to Jason Renfro, the stream boss, but he's still, of course, this week's champion, the king of the membership gifting side of things. Now, as far as that's concerned, Jason Renfro's in the lead with just 1 gifted membership. He's trying to go for that top spot on that side of things. Of course, he's on all over the board, Jason Renfro, but when it comes to the overall board and the After Dark stuff, we had some drops, guys, from Marissa, from Deadfool, from McLovin, who, of course, as you can see, is still in first place on the Cash App and still in first place on the overall board. We did have a pre-stream drop as well in the Cash App side of things. A guy, he's been here he's actually won the board many times. The great Stanley Smith dropping a $10 holler, and GO Cowboys.
Woo!
Much love to Stanley Smith on the board, repping it here in Florida with us. That's Star Over Everything. So appreciate you, Stanley. Much love to McLovin, who's running the boards, and there's a lot of ways of dropping the love here on MCF, whether it's in the super chat side of things like Dwayne Broussard did, whether it's a thanks button after the videos post, whether it's jumping in the membership, or it is also gifting memberships. There's 4 other ways you can challenge the Cash App crownage here on MCF. Baby, why don't you explain the 4 different ways?
You have, of course, the Cash App money sign MyCowboysFamily, the Venmo at My-Cowboys-Family, the regular PayPal link, and last but not least, that Streamlabs link lets your comment show up on screen just like a super chat, which you just saw.
Yeah.
Dustin Roberts dropping it and flexing it there. Thank you so much.
The $2 holler by Dustin. What did Dustin have to say about things?
We filled a major hole, and it's a good upgrade.
For sure. We're going to discuss Eric Kendricks, a guy we've been talking about here for about, 3 weeks or so?
And not just that, but let's be real. We're all hoping that the Cowboys, and Jerry specifically, right? Like, when has he ever seen a hole that needed filling that he didn't want to fill, you know?
Well, it depends on how much it cost. Let's be honest.
Oh, had to make my little joke there, guys. So again, thank you so much, Dustin. Appreciate you. And yes, we already talked about all the different ways you can show the love here. But speaking of showing the love, we always have to show the love to those representing on the Star and Over Everything membership, because again, that's one of their extra special perks, right?
Remind them what's coming every month. A little change up. We have our Star and Over Everything level membership. This, monthly jersey raffles for the crew there. Anybody in the Star Over Everything. Then we also added the weekly winners. So this last week, Jeremy Bramlett repping the boards. He's got a official entry for this end of the month March. This is every month. So the March jersey raffle, he's got a chance to win it. But everybody who is in the Star and Over Everything level, they are automatically involved in this thing. So baby, who are the names? Who are the people repping it here as far as the Star and Over Everything level?
Thank you very much, Skeptical Fan, Jason Renfro, Lincoln Kane, Andy Potts, Dwayne Broussard, The Lunatic, and Over Everything.
Ooh,
C. Bass.
You know it. So as we get rolling forward here, guys, I'll update the boards and all that as, baby, you do the shout-outs in the house. Who's in the house tonight as you get rolling here?
We have Brandon J. What's up? Aztec Aguilera 4, much love. Tokyo representing, even you, Leaside Herald. C. Bass. Yeah, I knew you'd get that one. Sarah Small, what's up? Much love. We have Drums and Cowboys, hello and hi. Let's say Williams representing. Tammy Soltis, much love to you and yours. Dustin Roberts, of course, rolling through. Let's say Williams, what's up? We have Daniel Berry Sports representing. 808 Cowboy 77. Jason Renfro, much love, the stream boss.
Bossing the stream around, hell yeah.
Dwayne Broussard, the top dog himself. Drums and Cowboys, much love to you. Stephen White, hello and hi. Bruce got the Toxic Juice. What's up? Thanks for rocking with us. Thomas Garrett, the Superior. Garrett, hello and hi. Chris Davis, much love. We have, let me see who else is here. Mike Aldana. Oh, that Lee Side Herald was funny there.
Yeah, Seabass
Comment,
still recovering, Seabass. But no, I mean, I recovered last night. Kind of delved back into it for a little bit. I'm good. Back on my feet.
Let me see. Aztec Aguilera 4, Juan Carlos, Lisey. I think that's all the shout-outs here as far as I can see.
It's
so
a power,
as more people roll in, I'll make sure to continue to shout them out.
It is a power pack show tonight, so I'm just going to get going here on this thing. Today, when it comes to Jerry Jones, an update on one of his multiple, again, we talk about our players always in the courts. No, Jerry's in the courts. And right now, he's got like 3 or 4 things going on. The judge today, in one of his cases, dismissed the defamation suit, which was filed against Jerry Jones in federal court. The lawsuit was filed by the woman who's claiming that she's Jerry's biological daughter. What I mean by that, now you might say, okay, I mean, did he win? He won something here. Yeah. The defamation portion of the lawsuit, which was filed by this woman who's, alleging to be her biological father, alleged that the Cowboys owner and associates worked to portray her in the public as an extortionist, kind of like what Dak is trying to cut off and doing with that woman who's trying to extort him right now. But this is the opposite direction. This is a child that's born. And so, they're basically saying that she's trying to extort Jerry Jones, she's trying to say that Yeah, basically the Cowboys were trying to portray her as an extortionist. So they were trying to show her in the public that she was trying to, go for the money here. And again, that was what she was claiming he was doing. The judge said not buying it, not holding up with proof in court. That's thrown out. So there's no proof now. It's thrown out. Jerry basically won the case in the sense of, he did not try to make her look like an extortionist, which is what she claimed. Trying to extort him for money. So the lawsuit sought a multi-million-dollar payout. Of course, the woman's name is Alexandra Davis, 27-year-old congressional aide, said in the lawsuit that Jerry Jones and his team of lawyers in the media, marketing professionals, they had a plan to destroy her reputation by attacking her as a shakedown artist, an extortionist, right? So motivated by greed and money. So U.S. District Court Judge Robert Schroeder wrote in Wednesday's ruling that she had not provided sufficient evidence that showed that the defendant, like Jerry Jones, acted with malice. So that was thrown out. The defamation filing was made about a year ago after she sued him in Dallas County Court, alleging that he was her father, and sought to be released from the agreement that her mother had made that to keep everything quiet or else you don't get money. Jerry Jones' attorneys also asked the lawsuit be dismissed, calling it an extortion attempt, despite the lawsuit not seeking monetary damages. Her side said, basically, a lawyer said they're disappointed in the ruling, intend to appeal, believe it will be successful, blah, blah, blah. The course of this ruling has no impact, though, on the paternity suit or Mr. Jones having to submit the genetic testing. Yes. So that's the thing. In all this stuff, where a judge ruled late last month that Jerry had to provide the DNA test to prove whether or not he's the father of this woman. And, of course, she said that her mother, Cynthia Spencer Davis, had a romantic involvement with Jerry Jones in the mid-'90s. We were in the Super Bowls and shit like that. So, of course, she said her mother and Jerry Jones, we know that they have a deal when she was about a year old, that he would financially support them if they never publicly identified him as the father. This filing was made about a year ago after she sued him in court, but that's different, like I said, like you just said, than what's going on when it comes to another, not just the DNA testing, the paternity, but also a personal injury lawsuit filed in Dallas County by a woman who said that he sexually assaulted her at AT&T Stadium in 2018. So, that lawsuit initially filed in 2020, it was dismissed and then reviewed and then set to go to a jury trial later this month, but then rescheduled to March 3rd, 2025. I guess delay is the way to go with the rich guys with power. So there you go. That's the Jerry Jones update. I guess a win-ish kind of thing for him this time around. Now, NFL news, we have the Commanders, all right, and 5 other teams, Steelers included. They're proposing moving different kind of rule changes here. The Commanders want to move the trade deadline to the Tuesday after the Week 10 games. The Steelers want the deadline moved to the Tuesday after the Week 9 games. Interesting.
All right.
But that's the way they're kind of looking at that. Detroit.
Because currently, what's the cutoff? Like Week 8 or something?
Yeah, I'd have to look at it again. I'm not even sure. I think it's even later, actually, than Week 10.
Oh,
I thought it was later in Week 10. I'm not sure.
Basically, they want to make it shorter?
They want to make it earlier to the trade deadline, so you're stuck with the players you're with. But Detroit wants to amend the article to remove the requirement a player must spend at least one day on the active roster following the final cutdown. We know how that goes. We have to, it would make more room for players to stay on the team, basically, which I like that rule. We use it a lot. Detroit also wants to provide clubs with unlimited number of designations for return for return transactions in the postseason. So, they want to make sure that number is not. There's no limit or cap on that. Buffalo want expand the standard elevations every week from the practice squad to permit clubs to elevate a third player from its practice squad, who is going to be like an emergency quarterback. So it'd be Trey Lance would be every week's third automatically. It's like kind of like you have to have a certain number of offensive linemen. You'd have to have one quarterback from the practice squad. So that could be a Trey Lance move right there. Or at least a Cooper Rush move possibly. I don't know. But either way, they want 3 elevations, the third one being a quarterback. That's Buffalo. Pittsburgh, like I said, they want to move the trade deadline after the Week 9 games. And Cleveland, Detroit, Jets, Philadelphia, San Francisco, Washington, they want to move the trading deadline to after Week 10 games. So, however that's going to roll out, we'll see. I think in another week or two, end of March, I think they have the meetings in Orlando, and that usually decides the final rules, changes, and they vote on all that stuff then. Now, there you go. We got the NFL stuff out the way. Got the Jerry Jones shit out the way. We're almost to the free agency side of things. First take, guys. the Tad Prescott thing today. Actually,
Yeah,
Stephen A.
we spoke about it yesterday.
Yeah, but Stephen A. Smith took a lot of heat for that for some reason.
Yeah.
Today he apologized, but then rephrased his Tad Prescott comments, saying, "quote I want to apologize for that to Dak Prescott's brother, to Tad Prescott, but I also wanted to say this, quote, grow up. You are compromising how Dak is being viewed by the Dallas Cowboy fans." So that's he's just trying to give some friendly advice, Stephen A. Smith, after he apologized. As far as that's that. We'll talk more about Dak in a minute and some of the deals and stuff moving around because there are some updates on that. But when it comes to the draft upcoming, there's pro days going on. We talked about 2 yesterday: offensive line look, receiver look at 2 different colleges. Today, it was the Georgia pro day, and the Cowboys sent wide receiver and defensive back coaches out there. Robert Prince with the receivers, Al Harris with the defensive backs. That's who was there at the Georgia pro day. So, again, we'll see what happens, who the Cowboys look for from Georgia in the defensive back side of things and receiver side of things. The Cowboys obviously are scouting that side of things out as well. Now, let's get to our players, not our pickups yet, but Dak Prescott. All right, now, in this situation on NFL Network today, Tom Pelissero said that the focus in the recent days and weeks within the Dallas Cowboys have been not really free agency. It's been they're trying to find out how to extend Dak Prescott. And according to a lot of sources, it's not anything that's going to be imminent. It's not coming around the corner.
Which kind of tracks with the information we kind of already knew as far as no, they haven't talked to Dak's agent. No one's really communicated. They haven't really said anything. So, yeah, doesn't sound like there's any movement happening there, which is unfortunate considering we're just a few days away from having to make a decision one way or the other.
Yeah, the 17th.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, some of that money becomes guaranteed, locked in, and you can't move it around. So, look, the thing is this. You don't have to have Dak or talk to him to do the restructure. That's a Cowboy organization, Jerry Jones front office move. Please understand, Dak has no say in restructuring his deal. At the very least, the Cowboys must do this. They must do this. So, even if they don't extend them, they got to at least do that. But there's not even talk for extension. So we didn't see a restructure yet. We didn't see an extension yet. The extension, the restructure is only if the Cowboys don't want to take the $60 million hit for the most part. They're going to take the whole $59 million hit this year, which means we have to pay only a little bit less dead money the next 2 or 3 years. But we still have to pay a lot of dead money. We'd pay a lot more, of course, if we restructure and move the money forward. So it's up to the Cowboys. I don't know what they're trying to do, if it's negotiation, they're trying to be sneaky, if they're really going to thinking of moving on from Dak at this point. I don't know, but according to multiple people, said, quote, a lot of sources, the media sources said, basically, eventually in the coming days, things should be working out. But right now, it's really tight. As for the contracts, it's all quiet on that front. This is from Jane Slater. Still nothing with Dak Prescott. The anticipation is that CeeDee Lamb at some point will get his contract extended. Probably first in line is CeeDee Lamb, according to all sources.
All right.
And then they got to get to Micah Parsons as well. So the annual reminder is signing the Cowboys guys. When the Cowboys extend CeeDee Lamb, and they extend Micah, and they extend Dak, if they do that, this is what the Cowboys have called their free agency in the past. So keep that in mind. This is the Cowboys free agency, not necessarily free agency. It's about signing their own guys to the extensions, or guys that are being, leaving the team, like Trent Zieg. I'm just making a joke. But, that's the situation there with Dak, with CeeDee Lamb, Micah, and the contracts from the front office. Any quick thoughts on this, baby?
Like I said, it just a little disappointing and still a little surprising that there hasn't really been any communication. But isn't Jerry the one who likes to say deadlines make deals?
Remember, though, right now, without a deal done, that's less money for us to use in free agency.
I know.
And that the Joneses are purposely doing this.
Again, if we already planned on doing nothing,
I guess. But this is also why we say it's the clown show. Not because of Dak, because of Jerry and Stephen fucking Jones.
So, let me take a second here. Ron the Don Smith.
Hey.
Much love. Fingers
Ron.
crossed that appointment tomorrow all
yes,
goes well.
Yes, it goes well. Hopefully,
thanks for popping in here and saying hello and hi. I always appreciate you, Ron.
The Don is in the house. Hell yeah. Appreciate you, brother.
I thought you were going to
No, I just
keep going there. Jones and Cowboy said, Tad is a stupid man. It's the Joneses that make Dak wealthy and popular.
Yeah, listen, I can make any comment I want about Jerry Jones. I can sit here and tell Jerry Jones a piece of shit, Stephen Jones a piece of shit, and I do believe that for some stuff they fucked up this team. But if I was Dak Prescott's brother, I wouldn't say anything publicly. Just saying, that's just smart, and he's not being smart right now. Neither is Terrence. Neither is, I think, is it Terrence Parsons. That is Micah Parsons' brother. He's out there fucking talking about the Cowboys ain't doing anything, and you don't expect the Cowboys to be in a championship game. So, these guys, these people's family, their families must start to shut the fuck up, including CeeDee Lamb's mother too. So they can't control them. They got to be smarter than this.
Yeah, we've had. It feels like this year, we've had more than ever family members speaking out in various regards about their feelings, positive or negative. So
yeah, not a fan of that in my book.
Yeah,
you can't help that. But
look, I'm all about family, but yeah, maybe we should be hearing less from some of these people overall.
But we're gonna hear more from somebody right now. You know why? Because he dropped another $10 holler. It's actually, I'm sorry, he dropped a Micah Parsons $11 holler.
Oh.
And they go Cowboys from Mr.
Woo.
Stanley Smith. Appreciate him as
Stanley.
he is moving on up this board. Much love to Mr. Stanley Smith again, repping that star for everything. Appreciate you. So again, any other thoughts in the chat before I move on?
Let me see. Aztec Aguilar first said we may not win Super Bowls, but we always win headlines.
That's what Jerry loves. That's Jerry's favorite thing to win.
So,
unfortunately.
Let me see. That's more or less everything there on that specific topic. So, just throwing that out there.
All right. Just want to say Stanley Smith with his drops in third place on the overall board, third place on the Cash App board, just right in front of Jason Renfro by a hair, and right behind Marissa Sparkle and McLovin. So the battle continues. It ensues with the great Stanley Smith drops right there, jumping in front of Jason Renfro and Gloria and A. Lavelle and others. So, sorry, I'm up to the end of the board, baby. Just hit a comment or two if you can.
Yeah, of course. Tammy Soltis, by the way.
In the house. What's up?
She said, that's why Jerry plays free agency like he does.
Yep.
All he cares about is headlines. As long as people are talking about him and his name is in the lights.
And you understand what's happening when he does that, right? I mean, he also, I think the other key trick to this is that he likes to, kind of show people, listen, I don't have the money to spend. It's all these contracts. Yet, if he makes a couple moves here and there, we got $20 million to play with in free agency. Then you can't say you don't have the money.
Yeah, I said it. He likes to cosplay being poor. He likes to pretend he's poor.
Unfortunately.
And has no money and no means of doing anything. Like, I can't. I'm too poor. I'm too broke. Okay, Jerry. Sure. So. Oh, Dustin Roberts, you know it. He said, everyone just loves having the big D in their mouths. Again, whether it's directly Cowboys or Cowboy adjacent, I feel, again, we are an integral part of basically everything that happens, whether it's, like I said, direct or indirect. So.
Very true. Sorry, baby. I'm
right.
finishing it up. Words speak a lot there. I just wanted to update the board, and we have it now officially updated. But there's the moments of last moments we're going to hear about Dak and all these other guys and their contracts. Because now it's about the free agency situation, and I hate to say it, everybody else is having a free agent frenzy, but us at least until this evening. At 4 p.m.
Very late, yes.
Yeah, at 4 p.m. Eastern time today, the official start time of the 2024 NFL League year officially starts, which means now any trades, any signings can be officially, all the free agency moves can be officially executed now. Again, legal tampering 2 days, the 48 hours of legal tampering Monday, Tuesday ended at 4 p.m. today, and now everything was official being signed. So with the start of the league year, Cowboys have 15 players who have become unrestricted free agents. Tony Pollard, Tyron Smith, Tyler Biadasz, Chuma Edoga, Rico Dowdle, Sean McEwen, Stephon Gilmore, Dorrance Armstrong, Jonathan Hankins, Jordan Lewis, Noah Igbeghagni, Jaron Curse, Dante Fowler, Neville Gallimore, CJ Goodwin, and Trent Sieg. All these guys, 15 guys, unrestricted free agents today officially, right? Nobody signed, but four, of course, have reached contract agreements elsewhere at that point of the day, right? We obviously had another guy lost today. Before those guys left, fifth one today, we gained one, we re-signed one, but we keep looking down this list here. You got guys like Michael Gallup. I'll talk more about him later. But right now, if the Cowboys want to release Michael Gallup, it has to be as a June 1st cut. The Cowboys have to do that before, I think, the 17th as well. So that $4 million of his $8.5 million salary becomes fully guaranteed on Sunday. So now is when, between now and Sunday, the Cowboys must cut Michael Gallup or trade him before they cut him. That's it. So we'll talk a little bit more about that a little later. Nothing really new on that front. As far as where are where is Carmen Sandiego? No, where in the world is fucking Jerry and Stephen Jones? We know, listen, Jerry Jones right now is on vacation on a yacht in the Caribbean. We discussed this multiple times over and over again. So I already, this has not been 100% confirmed, but this is the high speculation. The other guy we discussed yesterday, now everyone's talking about where he was, but I've told you guys he was at the South by Southwest conference. So we know that for a fact. Cowboys EVP, Director of Player Personnel, on day one of free agency, of the tampering day, on Monday, he was on stage at the SXSW, the South by Southwest conference, with his sister Charlotte Jones, talking about the Cowboys' history with Nike. That's what he was doing. That's the guy supposed to be running the show in these trades. Him and Will McClay and he's out there doing conferences. So again, a lot of people believe, and it's not just us saying that we're upset and frustrated. A lot of people look at us and laughing at this team, the way we've handled free agency so far.
I think we mentioned it yesterday. Obviously, right this second, we just made a move today.
Yeah, right. But this was like the morning of. This was like at the start of free agency officially.
I know that my whole point was going to be that if you were with us last night, we touched on the fact that, again, we were the singular only team to basically not do anything yet.
Yeah, we had not done a move except for our own guys, which, of course, was a long snapper, Trent Zeke. Now, one of the guys we lost officially today, the deal was officially done, is our former running back, formerly number 20, the $20 hollers. And it was Tony Pollard. So what was the actual breakdown of this deal, baby? Because I know we know the deal was a 3-year deal for, what was it, $24 million, I think it was. Or $21 million. I think it was 24 total at the end of it, right? But a 3-year, $21.75 million deal. Sorry. He had a $6 million signing bonus, 10.49, so basically $10.5 million is guaranteed fully. $8 million he gets in 2024, $3 million of the 2025 money, which is, out of the $6.5 million, is fully guaranteed. So in reality, he gets a small signing bonus, $6 million. Next year, the Tennessee Titans can cut him and only have to take about a $4 million dead cap hit. You know what I'm saying? So, again, the assumption is he will have a roster bonus next year, so it's a decision that they have to make about 5 days after the new league year about Pollard. But they can cut him next year, and they only have to eat $4 million. They're really paying 10 for Pollard at most here, it looks like. So basically a 2-year deal for them. It's really a 2-year deal for a possibility of $14.5 million. So it's about $7.25 million a year is what it's going to average out for Pollard. I still think that's a little too much for the usage we're going to give him. So it's in the end, it's a better deal than we thought of. It's a better deal for the team, for Tennessee, than we first thought when we first heard the numbers. Now the official numbers are out. Obviously it's a better deal now for the Titans than we first thought, but still, decent deal for Pollard.
It's a better deal doesn't mean that we.
Yeah, we still wanted that. Yeah, just a little bit better there, but at least we know that. Now today we did lose somebody officially new to the team. Before we talk about our gain, let's talk about our loss. And it's a defensive player, Neville Gallimore. I know.
Another one.
I know we're not really big. I wanted him to succeed, but I knew he was gonna be off this team. Neville Gallimore today is an unrestricted free agent, officially signed and agreed to a 1-year deal with the Miami Dolphins. So he's taking his talents to South Beach. A couple hours after he became officially a free agent on Wednesday, Neville Gallimore agreed to this deal with the Dolphins. He's the 2020 third-round pick for the Cowboys. A regular defensive rotational player for the Cowboys. Not a starter, but a rotational player. The Dolphins are happy about signing him. They're reuniting defensive line coach Austin Clark in Miami with him. Gallimore and Clark trained together, so he knows that's one of the reasons why he picked Miami. He had 16 tackles, 1 sack, and in 17 games this year. He started 9 games in his first season, 4 in 2021, only one in 2020. 0 last year. So, again, not very good, overall when it comes to Gallimore's numbers for us. He's rotational. He became the latest Cowboy free agent to find opportunities somewhere else. Armstrong was gone, along with Tyler Biadasz and Dante Fowler, to the Washington Commanders and Dan Quinn. And Tony Pollard, a 3-year contract. Really, it's a 2-year, $14 million. Anyways, with the Tennessee Titans. And now we lost Neville Gallimore. He is now a rotational player for the Miami Dolphins on the defensive line. Much love, by the way. The man from Hawaii, repping that star over everything. The man who's the all-time streak maker here, the record holder, as the sponsor of the week, Mark Hovsepian. What did the man say with that 5 on it?
I'm going to say it.
Uh-oh.
I hope we go 0-17.
Oh, no.
And that wipes off that sick smirk off his and his son's face. You don't want to sign Henry to $8 million? Fucking clown show. First of all, shout out to you. Appreciate you, Mark. Much love. Even I don't think an 0-17 season would actually fix anything. So we're just kind of hurting ourselves.
Listen.
So maybe not that part.
I understand what he's saying about wiping the smirk off.
I get his point, though. I get his point.
Listen, wiping the smirk off of the Joneses' smug little clown faces are great. I don't want to do that in corrupting the star. The star is still over them. In my eyes, the star over everything. So while I hear you, the anger, the frustration, I understand it. I do not want to lose so they can cry. You know what I'm saying? Like, here's the deal. If the Cowboys, this is a make or break for everybody on this team, basically. Let's be honest. Other than Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones. But it's a make or break for everybody on this team because if we win no games, everyone's out of here. If we win, 12 games, and we don't get past the first round, everyone's out of here. If we win, 10 games, sneak in the playoffs and go to the Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl, then everybody's staying here. So what I'm trying to say is like it's an all or nothing anyways. Like it might be a poor chance to win all or nothing. It's a poor chance to have a good season or a better season than the last 3 as far as regular season is concerned. But point here is for the team, losing big or losing by a horrible record makes them sad, but makes us all sad as well. And it won't change the way the Cowboys spend money. It will not change their ideas about contracts. It will not change their stubbornness on things. They've been doing it for 28 years. What's another one? What's another year? It's wasting players, wasting time, wasting fans' love and devotion, passion for this team. Nah, the Joneses only care about doing it their way. And if they win, great. If they lose, they did it their way. That's what matters to them more. So, that's the unfortunate part there, Mr. Mark Hovsepian. That's my thoughts on that. So
the Jones way or no way.
That's the way they run it. So that's my view on that. But listen, there's no way in hell. I want to be as good of a team we can be this year. That's what I care about the most for this team. And so, yeah, even if it means Jerry Jones was right, okay, well, we win a Super Bowl. Fuck it. I don't care. Jerry Jones is right then. Like that's more important to me.
No one's going to be mad if, similar to what we used to say back in the Jason Garrett era, like, no one believes he can do it, but no one's going to sit there and be upset or mad if he somehow does. Right?
I don't like the way he's doing it. I didn't like the way Garrett was doing it, but if he won a Super Bowl, then I'm all in. Well, he didn't. So Garrett is part of the problem. But the Joneses, we know, control the main issues here. And all I know is that if we overcome that and win a Super Bowl, I'll take that, even if it means Jerry Jones says, I did it my way, and I was right. Yeah, I don't care. He just got lucky. We won. That's what matters to me. Mark Hovsepian, another one. Boom. Dropped. 5 on it. Jason goes to 79 points on the stream boss. Mark is up there now in third. I think he's in third place, I'm not mistaken, on this overall board, moving right up the board. What did the man Mark Hovsepian have to say, baby?
It's not that we're letting go of all these guys that bugs me. Many were overrated.
Agreed.
It's that we are doing nothing to replace them.
Correct.
Carl Davis and a long snapper?
Oh, man, I hear you. And that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, a lot of the people who are going were not. It's not like it was unexpected.
Listen, let me throw it up on the screen as we're going into our signing, our only real off-the-team signing.
That's right.
We finally signed someone, guys. So we got to at least be a little happy with this shit. I don't know. But, I mean, I'm not ecstatic. That's the draft. I'm not ecstatic about it because when I look at the tracker, I see that, yes, we lost Neville Gallimore. That makes 5 guys gone. We got Carl Davis and Trent Zieg that we re-signed. First edition of the after 3 days, almost full 3 days, Eric Kendricks, linebacker of the Chargers, formerly of the Vikings before that, is now officially a Dallas Cowboy. We're going to have to get some ideas about this.
Yeah, and how exactly did that even happen? Because it seems like we went from 0 to 60 there.
Well, so let's start. There's Kendricks in the Cowboy uniform. You see him as the addition there. The Cowboys official. Well, let me put it this way, guys. It started off a little bit weird, a little bit strange here. Because to start off with the 49ers opening, I was like, motherfucker. The only guy that I thought we can guarantee ourselves to get would be this guy. Eric Kendricks. Because he knows Zimmer, he plays, he knows the defense, he'd be a great leader, he's a veteran, he'd be fit right in. We'll talk about it more. I'm like, this is the guy we got to find. The Cowboys are playing around, didn't even offer him, didn't even talk to him. Until the Niners officially said that they signed him this morning before the 4 p.m. Opening of the league year. Eric Kendricks supposedly signed to a 1-year deal to the 49ers. I'll get to that in a minute, tell you what broke down after that. After I break down the 5 on it by the man, Mark Hosepian. I'm dropping another 5. He said, we needed an O-lineman, a running back, a receiver, linebacker, defensive tackle, defensive end. Now we need a center, a left tackle, an edge, even more. Can he add? We have like 6 or 7 draft choices to fill all those holes. And mostly low picks. That is the problem. I agree, Mark. The Cowboys are going to do, I think, when it comes to the mid, like the first wave of free agency kind of passed a little bit right now. It passed already. The Cowboys are never going to be involved in that. Yeah. I thought the Cowboys would be a little stronger, aggressive in the second level, which is now. So the second level, at least we got Eric Kendricks. We got to get more than just Eric Kendricks because you mentioned all the holes we got there, and those holes hurt. No glory hole for Jerry, just holes that hurt. So we have to somehow, this team has to somehow find a way to be able to make the right moves. Will McClay got to make some magic here to make sure we can, fill in the holes correctly, so to speak,
I agree. Oh. So, and yeah, Mark, again, we already had what I would consider a solid amount of holes, so to speak, right? So with the loss of all these other players, like, that only added to it. And you said it. There's only so many draft picks and so many
draft picks.
Exactly, and so many guys that you can actually replace with those draft picks, right?
Another one, by the way, by Marco Seppi. Another 5 on it. Still moving up. Still a little bit way to go to catch second place, but moving up fast. Marco Seppi and taking Jason Renfro down to 69 points. What did Mark say with that 5 on it?
Jerry Jones doesn't like free agents, but sometimes you have to do what you got to do.
Correct.
I don't like prostate exams, but I got to. And then, Mike Williams was cut, by the way. Your thoughts?
I'm going to get to the people that were cut after we talk about our Cowboys first. But yeah, I mean, I got thoughts on all that. It's coming, don't worry. But I agree, Jerry Jones, sometimes you got to bite the bullet. It doesn't seem like he ever wants to. Just doesn't seem like he ever really wants to. So now that we got Eric Kendricks, right? Well, we got him, but you see him on this list. But damn, it was a fucking circle to get him. Of course, it was released by the Chargers. We thought we were going to have to trade for him. If they released him last week, they could have signed him then. Nope. Cowboys playing games. They wait. They're figuring he'll be in the second wave or late second wave, maybe third wave. Cowboys were getting ahead of themselves. And then this morning, the 49ers said that they were signing former Chargers linebacker Eric Kendricks to a 1-year deal. He was a Chargers captain last season. He started 14 games, second on the team with 117 tackles. I'll talk more about his stats in a minute because at that point I'm like, great, well, that's it. The Cowboys, who's left at linebacker? There was like 3 names. They're all going to be over $10 million. We ain't doing anything. But then this evening, a change of heart. Eric Kendricks out of left field said, hold up. We them boys. He said after agreeing to a deal with the Niners, the former Charger and former Viking linebacker, Eric Kendricks, has now decided to go to the Dallas Cowboys instead. Boom. Just like fucking that. Just like that, it's done. Mike Zimmer is the key here. Mike Zimmer, of course, coached him for a bunch of years.
Yeah, he was the difference-making factor.
Mike Zimmer, it's said from inside the house, inside home, the Cowboys' home, that Mike Zimmer wanted Kendricks to help run this defense in Dallas, and Kendricks preferred to play in Dallas under someone like, Mike Zimmer. Remember, we had guys leaving this team. Let me remind you, again, Mr. Hosepi, and I think you'd like this, guys like Dorrance Armstrong, guys like Dante Fowler, Neville Gallimore, they didn't want to play with they wanted to get the money, of course. You got money in Washington.
They didn't want to play with such a tough, hard-nosed coach.
But I'm saying, they got money in Washington. They got a guy that's friendly, like Dan Quinn. They know him. He did good things for their career. I'm not disagreeing with that. But they all know Mike Zimmer's a hard ass. So these guys, we don't need you guys if you're going to be a hard ass. Eric Kendricks wants to play with Zimmer. He wants to play with Zimmer. That tells me a lot. That tells me, okay, these guys are running. Well, Eric Kendricks is running into the house, that's going up in flames. These other guys, these fucking guys here, Dorrance Armstrong and Fowler and Gallimore, they ran out. So did Biotish and Pollard. We knew he was gone. But look, they ran. They took the money and ran. They took the easier coach and ran. Kendricks is coming in, going away from maybe a better team like the Niners, and going to a team that may need him more into the scheme that he fits better, for maybe even a little less money. I don't know. So I like this. This is a guy we've talked about, Eric Kendricks, for about a month here, 3 weeks or so. That this is the guy when he was released by the Chargers. Even before that, I said we should trade for him. But then he was released. I'm like, we got to get him. And all quiet for 10 days. Then he was signed by the Niners. All of a sudden, he's in Dallas. So now he's at Dallas Cowboys. Instead, Zimmer pushed for him. The Cowboys today, only today now, I want to stress this, they were not doing due diligence. They were waiting it out. They were trying to play the game and almost bit them in the ass.
Yeah, so
they waited him out. The Niners called for the signing, and the Cowboys then were in contact with him the whole day, trying to get him to come to Dallas. The Niners made a very strong offer, the word is, but then Kendricks changed his mind and opted to reunite with Mike Zimmer. He wanted to come back with Mike Zimmer, who now we get an experienced starting linebacker to help run his scheme on defense. Eric Kendricks is older. He's 32 years old. But again, still kind of reminds me of a lesser Bobby Wagner, who, by the way, got signed today. But I'll talk about that a little later. That is kind of the way things started. That's the way the night ended for the Cowboys. You were going to say something, baby. I know about this. Mark dropping another 5 on it. Was that a new 5? Yeah, it is. Right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
I was going to say something, but let me go ahead and address Marco Sepian's $5 holler here. He said, I'll date a transgender, fantasize about Joy Bear, and pleasure myself with Ben Gay before Jerry Jones does anything. So many good, reasonable players were there.
I know. I agree.
Clowns.
And listen, the costs have gone up.
I do remember the thing I wanted to say. Actually,
yes, go ahead,
is relevant there, but at least we can feel good about this move. But what is the difference between us, like, actually really feeling good about this move, and why are we still, like, because I saw Matt's comment basically just saying, like, seems like fans are never happy. Like, the Niners get Eric. It's like, what a fantastic move or whatever. But then we get Eric and Kendricks, and then it's like, like still kind of bitching. And again, it's not about the move itself. It's about the way that it ended up actually working out, which is a bigger sign of, again, the real fundamental problem with the way that we handle free agency in the offseason and stuff like that, right? So, because the Kendricks move is, by every measure of the imagination, a fantastic one for our team.
The reason why it's a big move, I think, is not because of the player. He's 32. He's older. He's not the way he was. He had one Pro Bowl year in 2019. But the key, and under Zimmer, the key for Kendricks is that he knows the scheme. He's an experienced guy. He still puts up over 100 tackles in 8 straight years. The guy is a tackling machine. He's a run stopper. I don't give a fuck if he don't get sacks or he's not a coverage specialist, although he's pretty good. You guys got to remember, we're never going to sign the big names. Get your heads out your ass on that. It's never going to happen with Jerry Jones. I've been telling you this for years. You guys think one day we're going to get a guy with a Von Miller. It ain't fucking happening with this team. But Eric Kendricks is the best thing we can expect and want, because it fits what Zimmer does. I'm going to get to Bobby Wagner and tell you guys, I told you so, shortly. Because Dan Quinn was here for 3 years, and every year I said, get Bobby Wagner. Yep. Get Bobby Wagner. Get Bobby Wagner. And the Joneses said no. Not Dan Quinn.
Our office obviously said no.
Dan Quinn wanted him. The Joneses said no. So what happened? One of the first major moves at linebacker that Dan Quinn does is get Frankie Louvu and get Bobby Wagner with the Commanders. Dan Quinn it's not Dan Quinn's fault the defense fucked up. It's the front office and the money they allocate to the players, to the coaches, to be able to spend for guys, for Tua McClay, to be able to spend for guys. So Eric Kendricks, we don't know the numbers yet, but it's not going to be that much, is exactly the kind of move we have to make. That's the only move we make. And this is a good move for a move we have to make. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. I see the man Marco Sepian, another $2 holler taking Jason Renfro down to 62 points.
How stupid is this man? He keeps raising the bar.
It gets worse and worse. He raises the bar of stupidity.
You know the only one that doesn't get raised, though? The free
Common
agent,
sense.
The free agent cap.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like that bar is still firmly in 2004. So.
Oh, boy. Yeah, it's in 94. Anyways, let me continue to talk a little more about Kendrick. So you guys may understand why it's an important signing. I'm not saying this is a mind-blowing signing. It's better than the Cowboys were going to do today, which was nothing. Nothing they were going to do. So I'm not saying jump for joy. I'm saying it's a good pickup, solid piece for the defense under Mike Zimmer. That's a definite no matter what happens. So the Cowboys signing Eric Kendricks. Last year he signed 2 years ago. He signed a 2-year. I'm sorry. Last year, he signed a 2-year deal for $13.25 million. So it was with the Chargers. He had a 2-year deal for what? $6.5 million, right? 6.75. A 2-year deal was released off of that deal. It's not costing the Cowboys comp pick. Remember I said that? I said no trading and no comp pick because they broke the contract. So the Cowboys, hey, Stephen Jones gets hard for that. So
yeah, the Cowboys have been very, very careful about those types of moves.
Very conscientious about the way that they pick up players. They don't want to kill off losing Pollard or losing Biotish or losing Armstrong or losing these guys and get them comp picks, 3 or 4 of them next year in the draft. So this does not take away a comp pick with Eric Kendricks because he was released from his contract. And again, only played in 15 games for the Chargers last year. He started 14 of the 15 games he played. He finished with 117 tackles, second on the Chargers team. He had 3.5 sacks. He played 7 seasons before that with Mike Zimmer in Minnesota. He's had a total of 8 consecutive seasons. You hear me, guys? 8 consecutive seasons of 100-plus tackles. He has elite leadership ability, and it improves the defensive players and the defense in general around him. Great rapport with Mike Zimmer. Guess what he gets in the back of his helmet? That green dot. He's running the team. He's running the defense. He's running the scheme, and he knows it. He knows it frontwards and backwards because it's Zimmer. So this is a great pickup for the Cowboys. Guys, he might be 32 years old, but 8 straight years of 100 or more injuries, knock on wood, it continues because you know why? That means he's not LVE. He's reliable. He'll be there at all times stopping the run. 14 out of 17 games, he started. 15 he played in out of 17. Mm-hmm. So we know he can last. He's reliable. That's important. Listen to this, baby. 100-plus tackle seasons since 2016. Eric Kendricks has had 8 in 9 years. The Cowboys have had 9 total as a team in that same time frame. We've had 9. He's had 8 on his own. That's every player on our team for the since 2016 versus Eric Kendricks. And that goes even to last year. I told you he had 117 tackles last year. Tackles are an overblown stat, but when you look at the consistency, stability, in defending the run, Eric Kendricks does that. You still need a defensive tackle to help him. But this is something that the Cowboys has craved and been missing for years. LVE was not that great at this. Eric Kendricks is much better, so is Bobby Wagner type. So this is what we kind of got. We got the Bobby Wagner 2.0, I guess. The lesser Bobby Wagner. I guess it's really the Bobby Wagner 1.0, okay? Because Bobby Wagner is an improvement. But even with all that, again, Kendricks, 32 years old, 8 consecutive seasons with at least 100 tackles, spending 7 of those seasons in Minnesota with Mike Zimmer. Very important with getting these numbers under Zimmer. By the way, we get these numbers under the man Mark Hosepian, who dropped another 5 on it.
I know. A big mahalo to the man, Mark.
Yeah.
Do you know what he had to say?
Hit me.
So many guys that weren't big money guys. All we need to do is sign guys slightly better than players like Armstrong and Fowler, and we would have been set. And again, it doesn't even necessarily have to be a plethora of free agent signings, right? Like, you could have targeted 2 or 3 very specific guys and still probably checked off a solid handful of boxes and not necessarily have spent all the money in your bank. We
have no idea how much Kendricks is costing, but if it's more than Willie Gay, who got $4 million base, $5 million, an extra $1 million in incentives, he got $5 million, Willie Gay. This is a younger player, bigger upside. We know we're going to get with Kendricks. He's a little older. He's a veteran. I think Kendricks is a more needed player for this team right now, for this year under Zimmer. But he cannot be $4 or $5 million. You got to figure he's under $4 million for Kendrick. So it's a great pickup for the Cowboys. When you look at the Joneses, the situations they put us in, just the fact that they made the right choice for Zimmer is a good start, at least on the linebacker side. We got one linebacker in there now that actually plays off-ball linebacker and inside linebacker, middle linebacker type. We have a full replacement for LVE. And so I do think, guys, this is an upgrade to LVE. Please understand. So again, Mark, appreciate the drop there, taking Jason to 57 points. I also want to say that Zimmer was asked, actually Zimmer spoke about Kendricks today after the move was made. And Mike Zimmer said this about Kendricks, and what's to like about him, quote, he's a good guy, he's smart, he's instinctive, he's good in coverage, and he knows the system. Then they asked Zimmer if he made this last-minute phone call to him. He said, quote, it was an all-day affair. I think he wanted to be here. I like to hear he wants to be here. Like, he signed with the Niners, but he wanted to be in Dallas with Zimmer, with his defense.
It makes me wonder
It makes me happy to see him
how
here.
exactly that transpired, in the sense of, like, we obviously were interested enough to hit him up and say, like, hey,
Yeah.
what's up? Let's
But only
talk.
today, I only after the
But-
Niner thing. The Niners signed him, you know? I'm saying there's Mark with the 5 on it right there, the $5 holler. I think I already marked that one off. I did. It's the Van Ginkel. What did Mark say with that 5 on it?
Van Ginkel was there for $10 million a year, and we didn't sign him. Chase Young's still there. I'd take both over Armstrong. It's a slight improvement and cheap. Now, the thing is, the Cowboys would never in a million years consider $10 million a cheap
Yep, that's the
deal.
catch.
That is a high-value deal. That is...
Yeah, that's
shit,
too much.
That's a lot of money.
That's the thing. And that's the thing I think Mark has to understand, right? Mark, we've been telling you this for a couple of years. I know you've been with us for a couple of years. And we always get the same discussion. Like, there's a lot of guys the Cowboys could have signed for 10, 11, 12, 8, $9 million. The Cowboys, that's crazy talk for the Cowboy front office.
Yep.
Even without Dak, listen, guys, without Dak, Micah, and CeeDee Lamb, without Trayvon Diggs' deal and all these other deals, guess what the Cowboys would sign? No one. They would just say, our drafted guys are the guys that are working it,
Yeah.
and we're going to re-sign those guys. And that's what the Cowboys do, but they blame it on the players. It's the front office. That's the blame here. So, yeah, the front office. Listen, I heard Chase Young, there's a lot some of you guys said he's lazy. You know, he was there, not the best deal for him with the Niners, right? He didn't really do that great, and played half a year there. Then, you know, the trade was not really, they're letting him go. So, just saying, like, I agree Chase is better, Van Ginkel is better than Armstrong, but are they worth the money? The Joneses, number one, they're not going to pay that money. Number two, I don't even know if I don't know if I would pay a couple of these guys that money for them to be a backup. You know, because at edge rusher, you're going to get backups in there. You're not going to get Chase Young is going to have to be what? Are we going to replace DeMarcus Lawrence? Are we going to replace Micah Parsons on the outside? So again,
Sorry,
a lot
I
of
have
questions.
to read
Sam
Cleveland Brown's
Williams?
comment. It cracked me up. He said, expect more free agent signings. Jerry All-In Jones is not finished yet.
Oh, I know. He got that kicker on his another. He wants a backup kicker. I heard.
Yeah.
That's a joke. Anyways, you guys feel me. Much love, Mark. I just see that the Cowboys would never spend $10 million on a free agent, an outside free agent. The last time they did that was Greg Hardy.
Heck, we can barely get the Cowboys to spend $10 million on our own players
Exactly.
that actually deserve it.
Yeah, and they do. It takes them 3 years to sign them. Mark dropping another $2 holler. He said the most average starting defensive ends go for $15 million a year.
Yeah, but you know, if you draft one, you can just get them for like $5 and a bag of chips.
And that's what and I'm telling you, Mark. When you have DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons on the team, we're not going to sign a 11, 12, 10, or $15 million guy. Forget about it. I mean, we should have kept DeMarcus. We should have kept Dorrance Armstrong then. He got $12 million. Fuck that shit. I'd rather draft the guy. I'm with the Joneses on this. Sam Williams is going to be rotational play. You better get his head out of his ass. Zimmer will fix him, or won't be able to fix him. And then that will be the true test. Sam Williams needs to get the fuck out. We'll see. That'll be another bust. But he needs to stop being dumb on the field. If we can do that, then we got our 3-man kind of rotation there. That's what the Cowboys are counting on. I'm telling you, Mark, I'm not trying to disappoint you, but them's the facts. Sam Williams is our replacement to Dorrance Armstrong and Dante Fowler. That's just the way the Cowboys are doing it. Now, important thing is at least we got defensive edge rushers. We got no linebackers here. We finally got, again, Eric Kendricks, which is the main guy we're talking about now. By the way, so Zimmer, I didn't just say that, because that's what I think tomorrow we'll get a full interview with Zimmer about this. It might be out now, I'm not sure, but Zimmer pointed out that the new running game coordinator on defense, Paul Gunther, and I talked a lot about him. We have a guy just focuses on stopping the fucking run, a coach that just stops the run, which I love.
One job.
So just figure out how to stop the goddamn run. So that's Paul Gunther, and Mike Zimmer knows him from the Cincinnati days. So, again, it looks like the Cowboy defensive coaches, Zimmer and Gunther, can still recruit players if you allow them the opportunity. And it looks like the Joneses allowed today that opportunity to happen for Zimmer to call and get in contact with Eric Kendricks. I wonder if there's any other guys that they're in cahoots with, maybe figuring things out that they know, players, recruiting them. Here's what Aaron Jones said, who, of course, signed with the Vikings, former running back for the Packers, said, quote, Eric Kendricks is one of the smartest players I've ever played against. He's a difference maker. And that's the mental side more than it is the physical side. But again, 117 tackles. He's got the physicality still, too. NFL GM, no name on this, said, quote, Kendricks is like a GPS app. He always finds his destination. Guys, I'm not hyping him up. Trust me, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. This is a solid run defensive linebacker. That's all we needed here. All right? Welcome to the Cowboys. I wonder what number he's going to pick. Because he wore number 6 with the Chargers, wore number 54 for a bunch of years with the Vikings. Maybe combine them and move 56? Maybe? Fowler don't have that number anymore.
True.
56 could be his number. That's my prediction. I don't know. I feel that could be a good mix. Kendricks, let me just say real quick, though, baby. Let me be fair. Kendricks is an overall average NFL linebacker. You know, at this state of his career, at this stage of his career, he can't do the things he used to do, but he can still stop the run. The other thing that's important is that's all we need. We don't need a superstar linebacker, guys. We need a guy who's literally him right now in his career, a Bobby Wagner or an Eric Kendricks type of guy. And that's all the Cowboys needed last year.
I honestly,
we didn't have that.
Linebacker situation was so fucking bad. It is and feels like an even bigger upgrade than it actually is because of the impact he's going to have at that position, right?
Because of his job there.
You know, we've kind of said it already. Mike Aldana said it earlier, was the point I was going to make when we first asked my thoughts about the Kendricks situation. You know, one of the deciding factors for him, at least, obviously seems to be the chance to play with Zimmer and the fact that he already is familiar with the scheme and already knows what's going on, so he does feel generally like more comfortable and ready to go and wanting to play there. Like this, you know, I'm going to assume that whatever money was offered was somewhat similar between both teams.
I agree.
Give or take, you know.
But the difference, he play a little less here.
Exactly.
He played for less money in Dallas than he did in the Niners because of the knowledge of the scheme, the coach, and the leadership he's going to provide in Dallas. Over there, they got enough leaders over there in San Francisco.
Exactly.
You know?
So he will be able to play an even bigger role here and shine even more, right?
Oh, yeah. So, Clark motherfucking Kent in the house, dropping that $2 holler. What did the man say?
He said, would you guys trade cards for James Conner running back?
Probably not for a running back. It's going to cost too much to trade. Trade away draft capital, and then paying Connor some high $8 million a year. Fuck that. Mm-hmm. No, it ain't happening, man. No offense, I like Connor, but he's also a little injury prone, so I'll stay away from him with the trade and the money. No,
and
too many
even
strikes.
I have to admit, I think the running back market is in a weird spot because most of the free agent running backs went for much more money than I guess initially anticipated, and that's just across the board. So
much more. I think the top guys got a lot more.
Obviously.
Yeah. The middle guys kind of dropped off a little bit. I think with the middle and the end, kind of the usual thing. There. I
can't see it. You have to give me a
second.
second. But Aubrey Johnson, thank you for summing it up. Appreciate you.
Welcome to the family here at MCF.
So, by the way, I do want to take a second here, address something. Matt Batten, appreciate you, man. Love you, but if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. We make no compunctions and no bones about the fact that we are not fans of our front office, our management, our ownership, and that's not just a sometimes thing. That's been a very long-standing tradition here at MCF for 7 years. And yes, we are absolutely. I feel like you guys are also just hearing what you want to hear. Like, how many different ways do we have to say that we're happy about the Kendricks move, while also saying we're not happy about the way that it necessarily went down? Because our front office can and should be doing better. Listen, both things can be true
Matt,
at the same time.
I love Matt Batten. He always compliments the show, and that's why it makes a great show, because we can say all of our viewpoints without getting hate for it, right? I mean, I hope no one's giving you hate, but here's the thing you got to remember. On this channel, for 7 years, we've been saying the same thing, and the foundational issue on this team has always been the same thing, the Joneses. Not a player, not a coach. They've always been problem players and coaches, but the front office is the issue here, and another year, another proof of that.
Again, no other team is in a situation where the guy who's making all the decisions for the actual team can't get fired.
Yeah. And
basically has no job accountability because, again, you can fuck up as bad as you want and you're still going to show up the next day and you still have a job.
Yeah,
so,
man.
I don't know anybody else anywhere.
All of those reasons on top of the fact that it's just a sloppily handled front office. We talked about the contracts, the way they trade, the way they make moves. Sometimes they get lucky. Sometimes they the draft is the strongest suit because of Will McClay. The Joneses fuck things up. That's what they usually do.
Our drafts so far have also not been enough.
No, never has been enough.
We've had fantastic drafts. We've had really shitty drafts. It has never quite been enough. But
listen, I'm happy about Kendricks. But that should not be like that is. I understand what Mark is saying, that we could have made a bigger move if we allowed more money on the cap, which we purposely, the Cowboy front office is another reason why I go out to Jones's, the clown show. They purposely do not open up cap space so we cannot sign players. That's what they do to limit the amount of money you have available to a free agent. The Cowboys do it on purpose. I talked about this for 3-4 days already in a row. So that's just facts. That's bad management. Nobody else does that. Cowboys do that, and they get the shaft most of the time. Sometimes we get lucky. We got lucky here because they let Zimmer talk to him, call him, and Zimmer said, "Hey, this guy wants to be here." So he convinced him.
At least that
Yeah.
change is different from what you pointed out earlier with the Dan Quinn and Bobby Wagner situation.
Yep.
Because again, that was 3 years in a row where Dan Quinn said, "Hey, can we get Bobby Wagner?" The Cowboys said no.
Now I don't know if he said that. I'm thinking he must have asked for linebackers.
We know he did. Certainly, at least 2 of the 3 years.
Yes, and you know what proved it? This year, when Bobby Wagner went to Washington under Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn has been wanting him. The Cowboys said too expensive. $6 million was too expensive for Bobby Wagner. Remember that. That's the clown show. That's Jerry Jones. That's Stephen Jones. Anyway, let me get back to happiness here. Kendricks. He's an average linebacker, but he does what we need him to do.
And when you say average,
I'm talking about his overall ability.
Okay.
Listen, if you look at his sack numbers or his coverage numbers, maybe what I'm saying, his tackling numbers are very good, and he's been consistent at that. He's an off-ball linebacker, so you don't see much blitzing. But in Zimmer's scheme, he is used in the A gap over the center to scare the opposing offensive line. You're going to have Zimmer is going to use Eric Kendricks over the center on one side, and over the other side of the center, he's going to have Micah Parsons. I'm telling you, you're going to see this on 3rd down and long. It's already a done deal. And you're going to blitz either guy. Sometimes the other guy is going to drop back in coverage. That's what's going to happen. A lot of 3rd downs. Watch me, hear me, believe me. This is a fact. And I even have videos up that show him doing this with another guy on there, and it's going to work better with Micah. So trust me on this. So again, the overall thing is this: when you look at the video, the actual tape from the Chargers, and watch Kendricks, the linebacker. Remember we talked about Kenneth Murray? He got signed yesterday. I forgot which team signed him. They gave him a lot of money for Murray. When you see them side by side, Murray's a little younger. When you see both of them at linebackers playing side by side, Kendricks, it is incredible the instinct difference. How much better Eric Kendricks is, even older than Murray is. And again, Kendricks consistently versus Murray. Kenneth Murray, Kendricks consistently gets off his spot and hits the gap faster and quicker than Kenneth Murray in almost every fucking film, every single piece of film. Murray looks like he's stuck in the mud. He's always a second behind. I'm just saying, like, someone overpaid for Kenneth Murray. We got a deal for Eric Kendricks. We don't know the numbers yet.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be Kenneth Murray numbers. Kendricks, again, overall, we could have found, look, Frankie Louvu was there. A couple other guys are floating around. I talked about, of course, Bobby Wagner. There's a couple great linebackers we should have prayed went after, right? But he will represent an obvious upgrade. This is the key word here. I know Mark likes to hear this. But at linebacker, we just upgraded over LVE with Eric Kendricks. And, of course, the guys we have now, like Damone Clark and Demarion Overshone and whoever else is left on this defensive linebacking core, because Marquise Bell will probably play more safety. So, on this day, it should not. Listen, we still need to draft a guy, maybe pick up another guy, but the linebacking core got better today. At least that's the good news from the Cowboy front. From this day, the ending, we got a little bit better at the linebacker spot today. Also, I want to reiterate, this is important. A coach on the field. That's what you're getting with Eric Kendricks. Guys, a coach on the field. He's going to get the green dot. If you guys don't know what that means, he has the radio in his helmet to talk directly to Zimmer. He places the players, moves them around. He alters the play depending on the offensive set and scheme and personnel. He does the moves on the field, and he's been doing it for 7 out of his 8 years with Zimmer. Or I guess 8 out of his 9 years with Zimmer. Only last year was with the Chargers. So this guy will be running the defense on the field. He's the coach on the field. This is extremely valuable when you have a brand new coach, a defensive coordinator, Zimmer, to the team. You need that guy on the field, to kind of the extension of your arms and your voice. That will be Eric Kendricks. You guys don't understand how important this move is. I'm not jumping for joy. That's the best guy in the world. He's not a name guy. He's a need guy. And we got a need filled today. So again, Dan Quinn with all the signings, he brought everybody over there. Why did he bring all the Cowboy players over there? Why did he bring? Let me take Kendricks off the picture here real quick, but you'll see. Why do you think? It's the same reason, guys. Why do you think Dan Quinn brought over Armstrong and Fowler over there? Why? It's because a new scheme. He wants players that know his scheme. Yeah. It's simple as that. So Eric Kendricks knows Zimmer's scheme is going to make the transition a lot easier, honestly. So Kendricks has a chance to bring out the best in guys like Damone Clark, and guys like the Marvin Overshone.
I was going to say, several of you guys are saying it here in the chat as well. He is there to also help bridge that gap and show these younger guys, hey, this is our scheme, this is what it's about, this is how you do. You know what I mean?
You move here, you move there when this happens.
There's, similar to how Dan Quinn is bringing in basically as many of his guys who already know his scheme in order to not have to implement so much when he's already, again, building an entire team from scratch. Yeah, right?
And you got to have guys in there that are already ready to pick it up.
Zimmer, this does allow him to hopefully, focus on other things that he needs to focus on while, Kendricks is helping and assisting in that. And I said this in the chat. I try not to think too hard about Overshone, because if you guys were here last year, you guys know I was not just on the Overshone hype train. I said he was going to be like the man, the guy, the star of our draft. He was going to be like that player that made that whole draft worth it.
That week 2 was harsh.
Ooh.
That week 2 a preseason game was harsh.
Okay, so with that kind of reestablished, I am fully on the Overshone hype train. A big reason for that, even though I think he will obviously have a rougher time overall, just because, again, obviously it's his first year playing, but pretty much every player coming back from any kind of CL injury, I'll just call it, any kind of ligament situation, they tend to have a rough year coming back. So I am trying to manage my expectations accordingly with all those facts. But the talent that he was showing before, I'm just really trying to hold on to that, because I was very excited about Overshone and what he could do. And I'm really hopeful that now that he kind of gets to kick off his NFL career under a tough-minded Zimmer coach, hopefully we're kind of establishing something from the start, from the base, from the foundation.
Yeah. But now he's going to get a lot of help now from Eric Kendricks.
Yep.
Right? It's a big pickup. By the way, I got to shout out the man. He dropped it a little while ago, about 15 minutes ago. The man, Stanley Smith, with another $10 holler.
Stanley.
He got 10, 11 to 10. Stanley Smith with the Go Cowboys. And by the way, baby, he's in 4th place now on the overall board. And I did want to say Markov Sepien still going up this board, who's in 3rd place. Mm-hmm. He is 13. Michael Gallup, old Michael Gallup. He's still on the team. 13 points away from taking over Marissa Sparkle's 2nd place spot. I just want to throw that out there. Everyone's on the same page. But yes, thank you, Stanley Smith. Appreciate you as always. And Go Cowboys. Now, again, we got 87 people in the house, so don't forget.
Take a second to hit like, subscribe, hit the bell, follow us anywhere and everywhere at MyCowboysFamily, of course. Hop in the Discord, links down below in the description box. And a shout out to everybody here representing, right? Sponsor of the week, the brand man, Jeremy Bramlett. Yeah. Thank you so much.
He's also the gifting champion, the brand man, with 10. And Jason Renfro with 47 points in the stream boss. He's still holding that down, but he's also got the lead with 1 gifted membership this week on that overall board. And then who's the Cash App King is none other than the McLovin, 5 weeks in a row. And the man is still in 1st place on the Cash App and the overall board, trying to regain the sponsor of the week. If he does, that'll be 4 and 5 weeks there, and 6 in the Cash App. We'll see.
And thank you, Burn Bar Bongay.
You know it.
By the way, sorry, Frame Ripper said, and that's my nightmare. That's why I said I am genuinely hoping that things trend in a positive direction for him. But yeah, Jabril Cox never recovered. Yeah,
he didn't do anything he didn't play a snap this year, even not on the Cowboys. So.
Again, that's why I am hoping that this is all a positive thing for Overshone, and like I said, sets him on the right direction for him to
Kendricks
be okay.
Is a major piece. It's like Jason Peters. It's kind of like that kind of guy. A guy who's going to help you, but much better than Jason Peters in the sense of actual play time on the field. So let me just say something real quick, baby, as I kind of finish up with Kendricks. Mm-hmm. I want to just get some statistical stuff out there and just some more detail. We're going to do more breakdowns on him later on in the week. But in coverage, he's in the 67th percentile. So he's not a bad coverage linebacker.
All right.
Coverage grade when he's in the box, which is where he's going to be 99% of the time, he's in the 80th percentile, guys. Fantastic coverage guy, just staying in, not having to go down the field, just staying in that tackle about 10 yards back in that zone. He's fantastic. his coverage grade in the slot. You don't want him. You don't want Eric Kendricks covering a receiver in the slot or a tight end in the slot. He's 11th percentile. Horrible. Now, his forced incompletion percentage when it comes to in the passing game, 63rd percentile, not bad. So he's in that zone, he's in that box, he knocks the ball down, and he's forcing incompletions. What about run defense? When you look at the analytics only, it's just average. Run defense grade is 52nd in the NFL, and his run stop percentage grade is 49th. So he's basically 50% run stop and run stop percentage. But the key is that he is there not to put up stats and numbers. He is there to plug holes, stop the run, not to get sacks, not to try to, be in coverage. He's a decent coverage guy, fantastic run stopper, but analytically, you're gonna pair him up against almost anyone else, and you're gonna see those numbers, the analytics side of things drop. Kendricks, again, let me reiterate this, this is last year, does not have the same athleticism he had early in his career when he was a Pro Bowler in 2019. The instincts, though, guys, you got to remember, these things are not measured on analytics. His instincts are fucking fantastic. Still, even with the Chargers last year, guys, not the athleticism. He's not going to be able to do as many things, but he can still do the things he does well, he will continue to do. The instincts are like a 10 out of 10 right now for him. Often the quickest player for the Chargers last year. Again, guys, a guy who played 1 year with the Chargers in a new scheme and was dominant when it came to his instincts at stopping the run. He was often the quickest player that was to the intended gap. The key for the Cowboys is going to be the interior defensive line. I'll get to that in a minute. To help Kendricks, you got to have a better nose tackles. What did Marco Seppian say, baby? What did he say with that 5 on it, taking Jason to 42 points?
He said Jerry Jones likes to brag. His girlfriend has a nice chest and is flat-chested, yet she thinks she's Dolly Parton.
Damn.
Kendricks is solid, but Davis as a defensive tackle is a total joke.
Oh, Carl Davis is a waste.
Clowns.
Listen, bro, Carl
that
Davis.
That was more of like an administrative type of move.
Guys, that Carl Davis move is just practice squad depth at nose tackle. We got Mozzie Smith, we got Noah Hankins, we got Osa. That's it. So we got Gallimore.
That's why we obviously brought it up and mentioned it because it didn't happen, but
it's not.
That's about it.
It's complete like third string, fourth string depth. It's not. I don't even count that. It's just more embarrassment. Look right there. The Cowboys even made that move a move. So again, to me, it's more about. And let me explain. This fits perfectly because that is the key for Kendricks to get to his best of Kendricks.
Yep.
You have to get a good defensive nose tackle, a defensive one tech, a defensive tackle inside. You have Osa and Mozzie. Right now, that's not going to do it. So Kendricks will suffer because we don't have the right guys. I believe Zimmer is not done. Now, there's some guys today that were signed. Sean Robinson. I'll go through that in a minute. But those guys, we got a lot less defensive tackles on the board, baby. And I'll go through that in a minute as well. But we need to fix the defensive tackle spot. Now we got a linebacker. We can take a breath. We can draft one in the later, whatever, in some round. Great. But to me, we have to, it's a Kentucky linebacker. We can draft him in the 5th or 6th or 7th. I don't know. We can draft him later. So we'll have enough at linebacker, but we need to find a defensive tackle if you want to be serious about stopping the run. So Gunther and Zimmer, you got Kendricks, you got to get more inside. I agree with you, Marco Sempian. And that takes me to the next spot, baby. The Cowboys' key for this defense, not just Kendricks. He's one of the keys, but it's about the interior defensive line, the inside defensive line, keeping Eric Kendricks clean. You cannot have these offensive linemen going to the second level and then blocking him because he ain't going to do anything. He's going to be blocked. So, again, guys, you got to remember, earlier he had a tougher time beating blocks now because he's not as athletic. The instincts are there. He's going to be there. He'll get blocked. Mm-hmm. In the past, he'd be athletic enough to go around it or to beat the block. Kendricks will not do that now. So you have to keep him clean to be effective. If not, he will be blocked out of the play. So, again, the Cowboys... I just discussed it. He is sound in coverage. A good coverage interior linebacker. That is good. He's better than LVE at coverage. So the Cowboys don't want him running down the field in the slot or covering running backs or tight ends. But he has that zone coverage. That's the value in coverage for him. So you have zone coverage for Eric Kendricks. He's fantastic in zone coverage in the box. You don't want him running out down the field. You don't want him covering running backs or receivers. That's pretty simple, right? I wouldn't even say tight ends even. You just want him in a zone situation. He does great with his instincts. He provides veteran experience. It's going to help install Zimmer's defensive scheme. It's going to help install Zimmer's defensive culture. All right? And he's a hard-ass Zimmer. So in all seriousness, for me, I truly like this move a lot for the veteran depth and the veteran experience and the veteran help he's going to provide the linebacking room. He knows the system is going to help. He knows Zimmer. He's going to get the green dot. So all these ways is a fantastic move, but is it the only move we need to make? Fuck no. We got 8. We just filled up one spot. We need 8 other spots still filled. So a long way to go, but I like this move. Can't hate the move, even though I hate the offseason so far. I cannot hate this move. So I'm done with my little mini rant here. I got to get. I'm honest. He's the guy I wanted. We got him. So that's great, but we got to do more. It ain't done. Any thoughts on that, baby, from you? Any thoughts from the chat on Kendricks before we move on?
I mean, I pretty much shared most of my Kendricks thoughts. All good, all positive. Like I said, our linebacker situation was so freaking atrocious that his impact is, I'm hoping, and I imagine, it's going to feel even bigger than what his actual talent even is. Right? So, and I'm also hoping a lot of that, too, is just bringing, again, that kind of leadership that is obviously going to sorely be needed and is really missing right now.
DeMone Clark, Marquise Bell, so young. And young guys, right? Overshown.
I love Micah, but he's not,
he's 4 years in the league, right?
Let's just be clear about what Micah is. He's not the leader of the linebackers, and he's not going to be the guy wearing the green dot telling the linebackers and setting up the defense.
He's the leader of the defense, but Kendricks is the guy who runs the defense.
And that's why I wanted to make that specific.
Yes, that's a very good point. There. And baby, remember, Overshown, second year, right? Never played a snap. DeMone Clark is his third year, right? Kind of thrown in there after the surgery. You have Micah, who doesn't play linebacker that much, in his fourth year, right? Marquise Bell, undrafted in his third year. So you feel what I'm saying here? They're all third-year guys or less. And that's what I'm trying to say. Kendricks is an 8-9 year guy. That's a veteran. So go ahead. I know Mr. Marco Seppian dropping the love.
Big mahalo, Mark. He said, Osa had 9 sacks over 3 years and is supposed to be our pass rusher. Mozzie Blue and Hankins is solid but overrated. If he was so great, he would not be unsigned.
Hey, listen, I hear you. I agree. And I think Hankins, I would like Mozzie to gain weight. I would like Hankins back. And you know who I want? Somebody else. A solid defensive tackle, not some rookie that we got to wait for. So I think we got to pick up a defensive tackle that's not just Jonathan Hankins. I want Hankins back. I like Mozzie as our third guy, and we work him in there. But we need another guy to help Hankins.
I was going to say, I actually disagree. I think Hankins is exactly rated where he's supposed to be. It's just that most teams are not in a needing a Hankins type of guy situation where they have to, they're not like, oh, we need to run out and get him right now. They can do what the Cowboys are also doing. Wave. And they can also hang out and wait. So even when we first got Hankins, he was also like a third, fourth wave guy. What we've always said is Hankins is great. He's fantastic. He stops the run like nobody's business here, but we've seen it. He is not a one-man show. He definitely can't do it alone. So adding it, that's why the addition of Mozzie, we thought at the time, or we're hoping, I should say, at the time, like, hey, this is going to hopefully, solidify that and make it so that now we have a much more consistent run stop, along with the whole linebacker situation, blah, blah, blah. So that it's a multi-layered factor there. But I got to disagree with at least that part there, Mark. I actually think Hankins is ranked exactly where
I'm with you. He's going to be.
So,
he's
and
not
he
elite.
Also want to throw this out here. He also made it pretty clear that he wants to come back to Dallas, and I'm gonna assume, based on the lack of moves, so to speak, that Hankins will be returning, and he will be returning for for something the Cowboys obviously are fine with bringing him back.
Last year, I think it was 1.3 million. It was like I'm going to tell you guys why the I'm gonna blow your mind with something I found out today shortly, that you're gonna be like, really, the Cowboys are gonna wait for that? So you'll see what I mean. But listen, guys. So today when it started, like I said, every team had signed an outside and external free agent except for the Cowboys until Eric Kendricks was signed today. But the Cowboys were the last to sign an external free agent in 2022 as well. So 2 times in the last 3 years, we were the last team to sign an external free agent. And in the last 2 years in a row, we did not sign an external free agent. So I don't know, you guys. Actually, no, 2022, right? So 2022 and 2024, we did not sign an external free agent until the last team to do that.
All right.
That's pretty fucked up. The lack of spending. The bottom 3 free agent spenders, listen to this. The bottom 3 free agent spenders over the last 10 off seasons regressed by 1.5 wins year over year.
Okay.
And
I mean, I guess we technically fit that bill this past season because didn't we do better this season before? No, I think we had
12
the same
wins
record.
every year.
Yeah, we have the
3
same
years.
record.
Yeah. The context though is this. The example is this for context. The teams with the top 3 records from the previous season, and then if you look at those guys, you get an average win regression at least the same distance. And so the point is everyone kind of regresses here and there.
Okay.
It just happens to be that at the bottom, the less moves, you have a better chance to regress. But it's really about the given cap structure. So it's kind of, when you look at the cap structure, you can see the correlation. Mm-hmm. That's all. Look, the Cowboys are the last team to sign an NFL external free agent in 2022. When we signed James Washington. That was our big move that year. Remember the first wave, James Washington. I'm like, really? And we all said, really? Well, Eric Kendricks is a much better pickup for the first wave, even though some of you guys may be like, nah, whatever. Look, I don't know who's going to be James Washington this year, but it's not Eric Kendricks. Eric Kendricks is going to be useful for us. I mean, I don't even know if he played, he had like 2 catches? James Washington? So, by the way, I'm going to switch up gears here for a second. Still keep it on the screen, though, because I'm moving it to the guy I've been talking about for a couple of days, Tyron Smith. Don't get too happy, guys. Again, still a question mark where he's going. He did not sign today anywhere. But, baby, you heard about it. You brought me to mind of this. And Tyron Smith was out there talking a lot of stuff on his Twitter account. And then we found he never had a Twitter account.
Yeah, I straight up said, I'm like, what the fuck is this? Tyron Smith, what are you doing?
He said things like this. I want to win a Super Bowl. I want to do that in Dallas with Dak Prescott. I regret not winning one with Tony. I'm not going to have the same regret with Dak. Give my agent a call. Dallas Cowboys all in. I'm ready for one last ride. Call my agent. Let's get the Super Bowl victory at Dallas Cowboys. For those asking if this is a real Tyron Smith, yes, the real Tyron Smith. I've always been a reserved individual. Started this account just to be on here. I'm going to use it to advocate for myself going forward. He said, that is enough social media for the night, though. Logging off, like I mentioned before. Give my team a call. Let's work something out, Dallas Cowboys. Love you, Cowboy Nation. Peace. This is all a Tyron Smith account that is fake. So please remember, guys, you see Tyron Smith typing anything, there is no Tyron Smith Twitter account. He does not have social media.
I fully admit, in the spirit of honesty.
What did happen?
It took me a solid minute to have it. I first read that and I'm like, Tyron, what? And then I obviously I kept looking and it took me a second to okay, yeah, this is fake. But for a split second, I'm sitting here thinking, holy shit, Tyron Smith, you really went out there and said some stuff. So I admit I was bamboozled. I was hoodwinked.
You fell for the okie doke. But listen, Tyron Smith.
Look, I didn't retweet it or anything. I'm just saying that I definitely saw it and said, "What the heck?" She's saying
her finger almost hit that quote, almost hit that retweet. But Tyron Smith,
look,
not in social media. Guys, not on social media. Anyway.
Look, can you imagine our front office pushing Tyron Smith to the point where he feels he has to speak out on social media? That's why I'm sitting here flabbergasted.
Something else.
What happened? So
you're enthralled by this.
I'm very. Let me throw this out there though too. I'm very thankful that this is bullshit.
Yeah.
First of all, this is the last thing I want to ever see, and second, even I don't think the Joneses would go as far as to disrespect Tyron Smith to that level. It's one thing to part ways. It's one thing to say, okay, we're not going to bring you back. But I give our front office a lot more credit than that for the type of respect I think they have for Tyron Smith and everything he's done for our organization.
I want to say I hope so.
I
know. I agree with you because they do like to, kind of reward the players that have always been good with them. You know what I mean? So I hear that. I guess I see that. But yes,
exactly, I do. Just saying. I guess. How about this? Are you in camp? Bring back Tyron Smith. Or are you in camp?
I am.
Move on from Tyron Smith because I would like to bring him back. We talked about it yesterday. I think that is the smartest move for our
for the
team.
right price. Yes, and it's probably got to be around 10 or less. It's going to have to be that range.
Yep.
But that's a steal for a guy of his abilities. There's other guys out there that I wanted to touch on before I talked about tomorrow's possibilities.
Yep.
And what the Cowboys are waiting for. Because when you hear this, it's going to blow your mind, baby. But listen to this. Listen to this. Brandon James. Brandon J, 2024, dropping that $1-2 holler. What did he say, baby?
I got to give you some credit here because, man, that was I love how you were able to fit your whole message in there. Seriously. Thank you so much, Brandon J. And I'm going to read it in the appropriate way that it deserves.
Let me hear it.
Eagles deny violating tampering rule with Saquon Barkley. In
yes,
case anybody
that's coming up. We're going to talk about that.
Eagles deny violating the tampering rule with Saquon Barkley. So, honestly, I have to admit, I would love nothing more than for the Eagles to get slapped with the A little tampering.
Yeah, it comes from Penn State head coach James Franklin said that the Eagles general GM Howie Roseman spoke directly to Saquon Barkley during the negotiation period, which is officially called tampering per NBC. It is likely the NFL is going to investigate this. The Eagles saying they didn't tamper, other people saying they did. Here's the thing, guys, you got to remember, you can talk to the agent. You cannot talk to the player until today at 4 p.m. Eastern. So in these first 2 days, it's illegal tampering only with the agent, not the player. You cannot speak to the player. And there's claims that the Giants, that the Eagles spoke with Saquon Barkley, not the agent, but Saquon Barkley himself. And that is a big, huge no. So that's something I was going to talk about literally at the end of the stream, but no need to because we just got it done. So, thanks for bringing that up, Brandon. Jason's the 35 points on that stream, boss. And yeah, the Giants are claiming, or it's not the Giants, but there's claims that the Eagles tampered with Saquon Barkley in person, to him, not to his agent, which is illegal. They could lose draft picks. So we'll see what happens if the Eagles are found
once we hear a little bit more, we'll probably dive slightly deeper into the whole tampering stuff, just because I have to admit I'm very curious, but not relevant or important.
Cowboys,
right this second. Let's see how it breaks out.
I told you guys, March 17th is going to be decision day for Dak's guaranteed money and for Michael Gallup. So before Sunday, we got to make a move. So let me explain. The decision on Michael Gallup's future should be coming sometime before 4 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. Saturday, 4 p.m. Before that, Michael Gallup should be cut or traded. Because after that point, $4 million of his $8.5 million salary is now going to be guaranteed, which means we don't save as much money if we cut him. So, again, if he's on the roster after this Saturday, it's done. He's going to be hitting us for more money. If we cut him or trade him, we're going to pay the $4 million. And he does have permission right now to seek a trade. And I'm hearing even a pay cut, not a restructure, an actual pay cut for Michael Gallup is a possibility for him. So, we'll see what happens. But as a June 1st release, we don't get those $9.5 million. We get $9.5 million for June 1st cut. We don't get that, though, till June 1st. That's for rookies and other moves later. Like a Trent Sieg,
right?
Least
we don't have to worry about, where are we going to find this money from? Because like we've said a few times already, it's kind of like it's like in future reserve, right? It's in a bank account in the future type of thing.
If let's say we don't do the June 1st cut, it would cost us $8.7 million in dead money in 2025.
Yep. That's
where you push the money to next year. So do not expect a decision on Michael Gallup. From a person with knowledge on the situation, do not expect a decision on Michael Gallup today or even maybe tomorrow. Signs point to the Cowboys, of course, designating him as a June 1st cut to create more cap space for this year. The Cowboys are waiting it out because they don't want to show that they have money to use, even if it's not right now, even if it's June 1st. So his agent and himself have been given permission to seek a trade. This is going to play out a little longer, but some people are saying, maybe that's kind of weird. Maybe the Cowboys are doing him wrong. I'm not saying it's happening, but the Cowboys are hurting Michael Gallup's chances to find a team and make a little more money. Why? Because everyone's getting signed now. Michael Gallup is not an option. The Cowboys not release him yet.
Yeah.
So right now he is stuck there.
We did give him an option, remember, to seek a trade, but we've said this before. What team in their right mind is going to want to trade for him?
A guy that they know we're going to have to cut.
When they can set their own price for him post June 1st.
And not just that. But here's the thing: this is a strategy move. Think about it.
It is.
If you hold Gallup back, and now the going rate for a receiver is $4 million, the Cowboys might say take a pay cut to $4 million, and we save some money on Gallup. That's smart. It sucks for Gallup. That's business. I don't have a problem with the Joneses doing that and working the rules.
Let's be real. This is an unfortunate.
If Gallup was better, we wouldn't have this situation.
This situation is an unfortunate correction after an over signing.
Yes.
Okay? The Cowboys put their eggs in the Michael Gallup basket, but they did it after a huge ligament injury. So that's why I was honest earlier when I said, I am putting my eggs in the overshown basket knowing that it's probably going to fall and crack and all my eggs are going to break. I'm going into it knowing that. Knowing that those eggs I'm putting there are probably going to be
dangerous.
Lost.
Yeah, in danger.
But at least we're not throwing bucket loads of money at him.
Well, listen, Gallup, this is the rules. That's the reason also why teams don't want to deal. Players don't want to deal with the Cowboy front office because we'll do moves like this. But this is business. Mm-hmm. This is business and it's legal. People got to deal with this. Players got to deal with it. Too bad. I'm usually supportive of the players.
Ligament Gallups and right away.
That's a great nickname for him. Listen, to me, I know it sucks. It sucks for Michael Gallup. to be withheld from the outside world, getting a $7 million deal. He might get 4 because we hold him back and we keep him in Dallas.
Yeah.
That's a possibility. So I'm just saying that's a strategic move. It's allowed. It's business. Usually I'm on the player's side, but this is a move that has been agreed upon, and so this is some of the loopholes in it. I see the man, Mark Hosepian, who just jumped Marissa Sparkle, baby.
Woo!
Into second place. What did the man say with that 5 on it? And took Mr. Jason Renfro down to 30 points on that stream boss.
Hankins is a solid guy, just nothing special.
I agree.
It's that everyone else sucks on run defense. He's the 90th highest paid defensive tackle. If he's that good, he would not get low money.
I mean, I agree to an extent.
Again,
The reason is because he is just he is a filler spot, not a specialist, like not a special player.
One.
Yeah.
I wish, in a perfect world, we would have above-average guys at every position. I will settle for at least an average guy.
Yeah.
Right? The Cowboys already are not a team that invests a lot at that position. So we already have to, scale down our, what are we actually willing to do here? So, within the range of the Dallas Cowboys, his stock is higher. Within the overall NFL, you're right, he's more on the average side. But that's fine. Him as a single individual player, like Mark, I hate to, push back here a little bit, but Hankins is not the problem. Hankins is doing his job
he's part of the
for
solution.
A fair rate, right?
He's part of the solution, but not the full solution
Exactly.
for $1.3 million.
Hankins combined with other moves,
it could work.
Last year,
Someone like Kendricks could help.
We were happy with the Hankins and Gilmore and Cooks moves. Those combined, I'm just trying to say, overall,
it was good enough.
We were we can work with this. We can do something with it. Hankins on his own, you're right, is lackluster and mid.
But Hankins with Kendricks, now you see a little bit better run defense, and that's all we really maybe needed.
Sprinkle in a little bit of hopefully Mozzie looking better too. I mean,
get your cornerback, get your quarterback Gilmore back. He's still a free agent.
Exactly.
And get a couple drafted guys, linebacker, corner, defensive guy, and you're cooking. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
Mark dropping another 5 on it, taking Jason to 25 points. What did Mr. Mark Hosepian have to say?
I'm sorry, they are not doing him wrong, as in Gallup. He should be giving them a pay cut.
Well,
the fact that he won't playing as bad as he did is ridiculous. Maybe a 7th round swap. And again, that's what Mr. MCF was trying to allude to there. The Cowboys are obviously, I won't say being nice, but from a business standpoint, they are allowing him to seek a trade. But like we said, that's more a ceremonial allowing to seek a trade, because no one is actually going to trade for him, even for a 7th round pick, because like we said, we all know it. The amount of money he's being paid for the production he's putting out there is too much. And no team is going to pay too much for a player that they can set their own price for if they wait until after June 1st.
Yeah, the Joneses, they only want guys that they can set the prices for, not that the guys are setting prices for them.
And you just brought it up as well, and shout out as well to the chat. You guys are also pointing it out there, right?
You know it, yeah.
The Joneses are putting themselves in a situation where they're basically putting the screws on Gallup, where they win either way. We either move on from him,
right? And
post June 1st cut, we save all that money, or he comes back and says, "Hey, I'm willing to take a pay cut," and we bring him back for an amount of money that is more accordant with his actual production value. And at that point, again, I don't know how much we're jumping on our couch for him, but we're obviously feeling a lot better. Okay, at least now if we're bringing him back, we're not overpaying for him.
Yeah.
We're getting an average
we're getting Gallup
to
for
below
$4
average
million.
receiver
But
for an average to below average
you
price.
cannot, listen, here's the thing, Mark. You cannot, guys are 99% of the time, no guy is going to take a pay cut.
Yeah.
Just the way it is. If you have a bad year at your job, you're not going to give back money to your boss. My point is, though, this is the way that the CBA is written, so teams can force their players they want to kind of keep.
Steve, I said Gallup needs some kind of a production clause or something like that, even with a pay cut. Put some incentives on that
I hear you.
deal.
He'll listen, guys. He's only going to take so much of a cut.
I know,
but he'll probably take instead of getting $11 million, he might get 4 base and maybe a million in incentives, maybe up to 6 in incentives,
I was just about
and he
to
stays
say,
in Dallas.
I'll even say something like up to $8 million in incentives. I'm not.
So you ain't gonna hit him.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of
giving the
adding
incentives.
in an extra 1, 2, 3 million for something like that's again.
So,
you guys said, Seabass said it's directly tied to performance and incentives. It's gotta go that way.
But again, Gallup has to agree or he's cut, right?
Yeah.
And he has to go somewhere else for $4 million, right? So he can get $4 million and maybe get an extra $3 million in incentives if he hits them. That means we're doing good.
Now,
that means he's doing good, right?
Revolution journalists said the same thing the Joneses are doing to Michael Gallup. They're going to do to Dak, which they can't do it in exactly the same way, obviously.
It's different.
But it's more about like the way that they're kind of maybe gently pushing him out the door in a way that favors the Cowboys. Now, if that is what you believe the Cowboys are trying to maybe set themselves up for a possible option, you have to admit the current situation with Dak and where his contract stands at and stuff like that adds a little bit of weight to that. I'm not saying it's true or not. I'm not saying I agree or not. I'm just saying that the Cowboys not speaking to Dak, and we know that there's no movement there on any kind of deal or contract or anything as far as the Dak situation. It lets people room for speculation.
Did we read the last Mark Hovsepian comment? I'm not sure.
No, we've gotten to it here in a second. And he said with his $2 holler, I never said he's a problem. He's just
I see.
over
Hankins, yeah.
Well, the Cowboys, we all know, and we agree with you on this 1,000,000%, Mark. We
all
know
they do.
that the Cowboys bring every player and overhype them. On one hand, that's their job, right? They're here to get us excited and hyped and stuff. But it's more about the fact that even internally, even behind the scenes, the Cowboys' expectations for some of these players doesn't necessarily match either previous performances or just the role that they're put in. Right? It has happened a lot of times where the Cowboys bring in a player, whether it's a drafted player. I'll use Mozzie as an example, right? We drafted him, and we expected certain things from him during the season. We banked on those expectations, and when they didn't pan out, we had this gaping hole now that, like, oh, we can't fill it because this is how we planned on filling that hole.
And
this is the plan.
And then it didn't happen. So, yeah, no, listen. A lot of issues on the team with the front office starting, but at least, listen, Michael Gallup is something that's going to be resolved one way or the other. Keep that in mind. So, and I do want to shout out Mark Hovsepian one more time, because I do see him here in the chat. Let me hit the love button there and the like. Guys, see him. He just dropped a $2 holler as well, saying at least Dak had good production. Gallup did jack shit. That's a fact right there. When you see it hit, there it is.
Was Gallup one of the receivers that joined Dak for some of his offseason stuff?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. I remember that. We went over that video over and over again.
Look, like I said, if for whatever reason we bring him back, let's just hope that he can do better. It doesn't seem like it was a Dak to Gallup production issue there either. Like, we can kind of tell it was more of a Gallup situation.
Yeah, Gallup hasn't got separation in years, even before the injury. Plus, he was banged up here and there with strains and calf strains and stuff. That limited his separation, but he at least was active in the offense. Not this past year at all, and in last year either. But look, you get Gallup down to $4 million and a couple million in incentives. I'd keep him on here for our third with Tolbert right there, at his fourth, and switching him in and out. Now you can do that as your third receiver can be a $4 million guy. Oh, by the way, Mark Hovsepian, I was going to say this earlier, baby. He is 20 away from taking over first place, but now he is 15 away from taking over the top spot on our overall board. And holy shit, there's 16 points in the stream, boss. So
I was about to say,
so literally
chipping away.
Yeah,
Jason Renfro.
If he gets a 16, he takes a stream boss and he takes over the lead for the week on the overall board. Mark Hovsepian down 15 on the overall. What did he say in second place? Where did that $5 holler?
What's concerning is he made $1.8 million last year and is a solid run stopper. Why risk losing the only proven run stopper to free agency? Where is the pick?
That is the point. Yes, that is the point. Go ahead, baby.
Like,
that's exactly it.
Like, if you guys saw my face right now, like, I'm literally like, I'm like spluttering at this point. Like, that's the whole fucking point and our whole frustration here. We clearly are going to make an attempt to bring back Hankins. What exactly is the point of waiting to what? Like we said, let other teams entertain offers, let other teams make his money go up. Like, if if it's such a complicated contract and stuff like that, then what the heck is it shouldn't be. Yeah. And it's such a straightforward situation. It seems like one of those smaller moves, similar to signing Trent Ziege. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like one of those kind of small cleanup type of business decisions we already expected to happen. And again, we know it will probably eventually happen at some point, but the timeline of it leaves our team vulnerable in the meantime. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And
Hollywood Cowboys, right? Tyrone Church. By the way, I have to read this comment as well by Pioneer. I think it ties in really well to what Mark is saying. He said, Jerry's uncontrollable miscalculations have resulted in Dak's current contract situation.
Correct.
Dak has accepted lesser pay since he's been here. So again, for, as mad as
his first 4 or 5 years he did, yeah.
With, we may be overpaid for this, that player, or whatever. Like you said, the Cowboys overvaluing or overhyping certain players is what got us into the situation. Mm-hmm. It's not like they paid themselves.
Yeah. I mean, the Cowboys said Dak 3 years, 3 years before he got signed to his extension, the Joneses were saying he was our franchise quarterback and didn't pay him. That you just said Dak is a franchise quarterback. You just made Dak a $40 million man at the time, and they didn't even know it because they were too dumb to see the future. And look, I want to finish with this on a positive here, so let me kind of direct it. By the way, Mark is about to take over. He's close. But last time we checked, I want to check on LVE. And the last thing we heard about LVE, guys, of course, we know he's probably going to retire because of that neck issue. He's going to announce that one day soon, I'm sure. But he's not holding the Cowboys' cap hostage, so to speak, because he's still on the team. His cap number is only $2 million. And I think if we release him, we get about $2 million. I mean, I think a little more back on the cap. Even if he plays, you have to approach free agency and the draft as if he's not playing, right? I mean, I think even if he somehow stays on this team, do you think that LVE, do you have to plan for LVE being on this team? Hell no. That's why we got Kendricks. That's the whole point. So Kendricks makes the LVE situation, it's almost irrelevant now. We get LVE back for some crazy, he's the backup for $2 million. That's fine with me. But we know he's not going to be here. You have to go into this knowing that. So the draft, the next spot for the linebacker is probably the draft somewhere. And I think that guy from Kentucky that we liked and looked at and bringing him for a top 30 visit, he's a guy we're going to look at for a later round, day 3 pick at linebacker. I think so, since we got Kendricks. Now, again, the moves, all those moves I've been talking about here on the free agent tracker for us. Kendricks we got Carl Davis re-signed in the practice squad. Trent Zieg, our long snapper, he's re-signed. And we lost Pollard, Armstrong, Biotish, Fowler, and Gallimore. What's next for the Cowboys? Now, we could talk about all the great names out there. I'm going to go through some names soon that are off the boards. But right now, last I checked, Tyron Smith, still there. Hunter Renfrow was released today from the Raiders at receiver, a slot receiver. I don't know if we need him, but another option floating around. Tyrell Dobson, Carl Lawson. I think DJ Reader is not signed yet, but he's visiting with another team, so he's probably off the board. I talked about center, Connor Williams, Stephon Gilmore, one of our guys, right? Calais Campbell, probably expensive for a defensive tackle, but can he just stop the run? If he does that, we're good with Calais Campbell. Cordell Patterson, a little older, but a running back receiver type. All free agents. That would be interesting for the Cowboys to sign. Do not get your hopes high, family. But these are some guys I'm speaking of. And let me give you some realistic options for the Cowboys, if you guys don't mind. You want to hear some real news about who the Cowboys are going to sign? The main guy the Cowboys are talking about for about 90% of the day before Eric Kendricks was running back A.J. Dillon, which I talked about this for a while. One of my favorite guys, if you're going to go lower, on a lower running back pay, then go for A.J. Dillon. There's only a couple guys left anyways. The Cowboys fucked themselves. If this is all we got left, not a great move, but you have to draft a guy. You have to draft someone, you have to take a running back in the draft to pair up with someone like A.J. Dillon. So the Cowboys, as the Packers rebuilding their running back room, they're not going to re-sign A.J. Dillon. He's a free agent. He's currently looking at the Giants, the Colts, and the Cowboys with major interest. Jane Slater mentioned that A.J. Dillon is connected with the Cowboys. The Cowboys have interest, and he has interest back. She said that the feeling is mutual between both sides. And she said, quote, I think what the Cowboys are trying to do and are looking to do is trying to replicate a Tony Pollard, Ezekiel Elliott situation. So she is saying that we're trying to use A.J. Dillon as the Zeke. I'll explain more in a minute. Mark Hosepian with the big drop, the $17 holler, the Brandon Aubrey drop.
He said, I am your stream boss. Thank you so much, Mark.
Woo.
You know what he said.
And not only that, baby, he's also the overall leader on the board, passing the man, McLovin, at the top spot.
Isn't 17 Aubrey?
Yeah, I just said,
right? Okay,
representing Aubrey, yeah. Much love to Mr. Mark. Mark Hosepian, all the way from Hawaii. Aloha. And the takeover.
Still on the uptake, guys. It's kind of late over here.
The takeover is real, though. He's first place on the board, and he's got the stream boss from Jason Renfro. What did the man say?
Kendricks is exactly what I mean. He's cheap and a slight upgrade over Van Der Esch. Same thing at defensive edge. Many players are slight upgrades, and to think a 5th-round pick will do better is dumb. I have zero confidence in Sam Williams.
And that's honestly, the fear.
I think that Sam Williams has peaked, and not only peaked, but considering how his penalty situation has gone, he's getting to the point where it feels like he's more of a liability than a positive. I'm still I'm not fully ready to write him off completely. I'm almost there.
He's got to get his.
Being real.
He's got to get his discipline together. But you know what's a good sign, though, guys? Who's the best guy you can get on this team, coaching wise, for discipline purposes? Mike Zimmer. Mm-hmm. When you got half the Cowboy defense heading for Z Hills to Washington, and the cool guy, nice guy, friend guy, Dan Quinn, no one wants to fucking play with Zimmer except for one guy. one guy only wants to play for him for sure, and that's Eric Kendricks.
Ooh, Thomas Garrett, I didn't know that. He said there is a connection. A.J. Dillon's college offensive coordinator is on the Cowboys coaching staff. I'm going to say exactly.
Okay. There is a connection, and there is a college connection there. Yes,
that's how we got the Kendricks move done. Like you said, Zimmer was that deciding factor. So if the coach is a deciding factor, at least a little familiarity, hey, I want to go play with this guy again. Heck yeah. Yeah.
Listen, as I add to this, I'm going to keep adding to this here. Appreciate everybody in the house. Mark, Tyrone Church, of course, Thomas Garrett, Superior Garrett. But here's the thing. The Cowboys are trying to set up a Zeke Pollard situation, but A.J. Dillon would be a Zeke player. He's a power player. They call him Quadzilla. Again, he's a fantastic hard-nosed runner in between the tackles, something we haven't had since Zeke in his prime years. So, again, we got a short yardage guy in Dillon if we sign him. He's not been signed. He's the guy the Cowboys were flirting around with the whole day. And, again, it's a Zeke Pollard situation is what the Cowboys are saying in the front office. But Slater also said that the Cowboys could maybe get A.J. Dillon. She said we were cooking. Now, you don't cook with A.J. Dillon. That's just he's like your second week.
Yeah, you barbecue with him.
Yeah, that's your second week of pickups is A.J. Dillon, not like your first major pickup. So at least we got Kendricks in there beating out Dillon. We'll make the Dillon pickup a little better if we get him. But guys, I just want to say this. According to Jane Slater, and the Cowboys are saying that they're looking at A.J. Dillon because he's anywhere between $3 and $4 million a year, which is accurate because Zach Moss was $4 million for 2 years, $8 million for 2 years. Cowboys didn't pass on him because it's a little out of their range. So, of course, Dillon is somewhere between $3 and $4 million, right below that. Listen, in 2020, he played 11 games, 242 carries, 2 touchdowns. He's averaging 5.3 yards per carry. He was used sparingly. He played 17 games in 2021, 803 yards, 4.3 yards per carry, 5 touchdowns. Very solid there. 770 yards in 2022 in 17 games played. So he's not injured guy. He gets 4.1 yards that year with 7 touchdowns. Even better for the short yardage. And then last year, only, again, 613 yards, 3.4 yards. That's his worst year yards per carry, but it was maybe the worst year for the Packers blocking. 2 touchdowns on the ground. So he's out, but he has the potential to get you his 5, 6, 7 touchdowns, short yardage, get you, 600 to 800 yards, average over 4 yards a carry in his best years easily. So to me, he's a good pickup, not a great pickup, a good pickup to another. We have to now go with another running back in the draft. That's all if you're going to go with him. But in the end of the day, guess what happened? Nothing to report. Any extension with the Cowboys. Not extension, but any deal. No deal made. There. Yeah, no deal yet has been made with A.J. Dillon. But again, the pot may have. Again, the quote that I saw by Jane Slater is that the pot may be on the stove, but the water isn't even boiling. So do not think A.J. Dillon's going to head here yet. And by the way,
last time I checked, you can't cook if you don't turn on the stove.
Exactly. The Cowboys don't do the stove turning on thing. So Zeke also, she checked in on Zeke. No calls to Zeke either right now. Cowboys aren't even looking at Zeke or A.J. Dillon as possibilities really in a realistic way.
Which is funny because I was actually going to say, one, I am actually a big fan of the A.J. Dillon move.
With a corresponding addition
all
as well.
All that goes into
getting him.
that's implied.
Yeah.
Right? It's this similar to how we said, we'd be fine with bringing back Pollard. This is not a one-man show, right? This is we know we're going to get you a +1, right?
So A.J. Dillon is a good pickup, a viable pickup for us.
But I have to admit, I genuinely was on the Cowboys will probably just bring back Zeke for like $10 train. So obviously there hasn't been any calls. I'm not going to necessarily write that off, though. We know that the front office has a very close relationship still with Zeke. He's still very much a true blue Cowboy in his heart, at least, because even though he was with the Patriots, he was literally sitting there saying, like, oh, I can't wait to see the Cowboys in the playoffs. I'm excited. Like, yay. Like, we know that he has a close relationship still with several players on the team, including, yes, our quarterback. So I am just going to say that don't completely rule out a quick deal getting done, because that Zeke, I do think, is the type of player where the Cowboys could call him and have a deal done in an hour if they wanted to. Huh. It's very simple deal. It's very straightforward. It's not going to be a lot of money. Zeke isn't stupid, and I don't think that he's...
So you're thinking Zeke's the guy coming back, yeah?
Consider that like my dark horse entry, because I still think in the end we will draft a running back. I'm still like that. If I had to bet money, that's where I would bet it. But I'd probably slide some kind of like, behind the scenes bet for that Zeke move, just because realistically speaking, I'm going to take Stephen Jones at his word when he said that we're doing something slightly different at running back than we did in the past year or two. It
seems different right now because we have no running backs.
I know.
You did our draft last year, but here's the thing, baby. I want to make sure we look at our draft picks just real quick for a second, because the running back stuff really starts in the third round. Then there's a drop of almost 100 picks till you get to the fifth round. So you got to get a fifth round. I mean, that running back, Ray Davis, is he from Kentucky? I mean, can you squeeze him in the fifth round? That's probably gone in the fourth. Third round, you got Jonathan Brooks. Can he get there? The injured ACL guy. There's some options for the Cowboys. You can go Frank Gore in the fifth or sixth.
Oh, final thing I'll say,
Frank Gore Jr.
Remember, whatever running back we get,
it's got to be opposite of the guy we pick up.
Like, you're tag teaming in as our 6th/7th offensive lineman. By that, I mean they're going to be blocking quite a bit, and whatever scheme, whatever we do, I just expect
not draft.
Them to be,
you mean just anybody we pick up?
I just said running back.
Yeah, just any running back. Right.
I just said any. Yeah. I don't care who it is that we get. Whoever they are, they're going to be playing a big role in helping to fill some of those O-line gaps that I'm already anticipating this year, based off of who we expect the Cowboys to draft and just the whole situation. We know there's going to be shake-up at the
here's the thing. Here's the thing that maybe tells you...
already moved on from Biadish. There's already a shake-up at the O-line.
But here's the thing, baby. When you look at A.J. Dillon, the things he's a good, hard, short-running kind of runner, bruiser, but he's also a great pass protection guy.
Tyrone Church,
did he?
You guys quoted each other.
He's a great pass blocker.
A.J. Dillon's a great pass blocker.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's exactly my point.
Yes.
We have ways of doing it. I personally also would prefer an A.J. Dillon to a drafted running back, although I'm not opposed to still drafting one. It's we get that kind of security blanket of knowing he can already do this, right?
And
there's no guessing games.
You get the running back, the other running back you get. If you get A.J. Dillon, the other running back you have to get is a guy who's a faster scat back kind of guy. That's why Ray Davis or Frank Gore Jr. they fit that role in the fourth or fifth round. We don't have a fourth round pick, but let me just go through real quick. I have to go through this, baby, because I want to go through what is remaining for the Cowboys. What's going to come on for day 4, for day 2 official. Stuff. So here's some notable running back free agents. We haven't picked up a running back yet. So what do you think about some of these names, baby? And some of these guys might be gone. Jerick McKinnon from the Chiefs. You have Damian Harris. You have J.K. Dobbins, which I like a lot, from the Ravens. He's just injury prone. You have Deontay Foreman. Alexander Madison from the Vikings. Zimmer. A.J. Dillon, which is the favorite right now, I guess. So these are, you got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, which I do like, by the way, as well. So, I don't know what you think about these names. Give me a name. McKinnon, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Damian Harris, J.K. Dobbins, Deontay Foreman, Alexander Madison. These are the names that A.J. Dillon I said already, but I'm saying these are the guys that are left. Some of these guys are more power guys. Some of these guys are more scat back guys. Obviously, the Cowboys are looking for a power guy that can pass block because they already got interest in Dillon.
I know, but out of all those guys, I'm going to be real. Dillon is the Goldilocks. He seems to be the one who fits just right.
And I'll throw in there,
like you said, other guys have a few more strengths, a few more weaknesses, maybe
some
other
injury prone,
but
not consistent.
Again, it seems like Dillon fits us specifically.
I also think I got to throw in there Ezekiel Elliott, of course.
I agree.
Right? So we got to throw him in there. Now, what about offensive linemen? Because we got looking for a tackle. How many tackles are out there that are still floating around? Mekhi Becton, it's going to be too much. Josh Jones. I think Trent Brown is off. I'm not sure. Josh Nijman. You got Kendall Lamb. You got Jaron Christian. You got Jake Curham, Chris Hubbard. You got some names that can back up the Tyron Smith pickup. If we pick up Tyron Smith, you probably want to get one of these lesser, but still decent offensive tackles to have to come in there and play for Tyron Smith when he can't play. But we don't even know if we get Tyron Smith right now. Right now we have only Tyler Smith and no guard and no center. Or we got no tackle. We got Tyler Smith at guard and no center. So we got a lot to look for. I got a lot to figure out at offensive line. I believe that's hardcore draft, other than backups. It's hardcore draft. Now, what about linebacker? Other than Tyron Smith, we get Tyron Smith. We can draft our center. We're set. We're good. I mean, we're kind of. It's an improvement because this center we're going to draft, if he's a first round guy, there's a lot of good centers, and this guy, either no matter which center is the JPJ or Barton, whoever we would get would be an upgrade over Tyler Biadasz. Now on defense, how about linebackers? We got Eric Kendricks. There's still Tyrell Dotson out there. There's still Jerome Baker. So there's still a couple names floating around, but most everyone has been taken. And now Kendricks is gone, which is, we got him. How about defensive tackles, which we need so we can get help on that defensive run-stop side. And, baby, there's a couple names left. I mean, there was Sheldon Rankins, but he was picked up already, unfortunately. Very expensive. And everybody else out here, there's only two guys really left on the top list, and that's DJ Reader, who is going to visit somebody. So he's probably off the board. And the old man, Calais Campbell, who's a huge man that can play inside. He's hard to block, but he's also older. Be a lot cheaper. So I don't know. There's not really a lot of guys left, and that's going to blow our minds when it comes to signing these guys. But, baby, here's a very important factor I want to throw out there about the way the Cowboys do shit. And I'm going to put up, this is a very important, I'm putting up the Clown Show. Why? Because the Cowboys, baby, here's why. There's a 3-letter acronym that explains the Cowboys' quiet days. So for the last multiple years in free agency, especially in the start of free agency, why do the Cowboys always start so slow? You know why? 3-letter acronym, VSB. You know what VSB means?
Vacation Bible School?
VSB, not BSB.
Oh.
VSB. It's when players and agents hear that acronym, they don't come running to the team that uses that. Why?
Okay.
VSB stands for Veteran Salary Benefit.
Okay.
It is a 1-year offer sheet that represents the minimum financial investment a team can make in a veteran player. A player who signs a VSB deal can have higher personal earnings than he counts against the team's salary cap, which is basically incentivizing the team to push the deal through.
Okay.
That's what the Cowboys do all the time. For example,
if I'm understanding that right, it's basically like you're offering the player minimum wage. Like, this is the lowest we can legally pay you. Right? Like, I'm just
let me give you an example. The Cowboys in 2024, if the Cowboys want to add a player with 7+ years, that means 7 years in the league or more accrued in experience, we can pay that player $1.21 million in salary, but only $985,000 of it will count against the salary cap. That's how cheap these Joneses are. They want to save $0.3 million, $300,000. Basically, $300,000 is what they want to save on these contracts, and that would be a guy like a Jonathan Hankins. Jonathan Hankins has been in the league for more than 7 years or more. He would get a VSB deal. Okay. That he would get his money, but he would count $300,000 less on the cap for us. Okay. You get a bunch of guys like that, you're saving $1 million in the cap. That's the way the Joneses think they're bending the rules or fucking finding the loopholes. They're fucking idiots, is what they are. But that's what they require. That's what they count on, guys. And that's how it counts under this VSB framework. The same cap number as if the veteran had only 2 prior seasons of experience. So basically, you're paying a guy on the cap for being only like a 5-year guy or less, but they're getting paid as a 7-year guy.
I have to admit, it seems really shitty of the NFL to basically say, "Hey, are you a player with lots of experience and years playing in the NFL? Fuck you."
Well, if you're trying to get on a team, sign this deal, and it'll incentivize the team to sign you because they save a little money on the cap. That's what it's about.
I
it
get
makes
the
sense.
whole point of it, and I understand.
But the fact that the Joneses live off of it is the problem.
I know. I was gonna say I understand that the NFL is this type of sport where players depreciate very quickly, right? We know the shelf life of a player is short. I think the average play time is still around 3 years. So most players don't play much longer than that. Right. So like I said, I kind of get it.
Keep the guys in the league.
But
yeah.
something about it just feels a little bit dirty, right? Mike Aldana said sounds like some AARP shit, right? Like, and that's what I'm saying. The Cowboys are trying to get the senior citizen discount for like major freaking players.
Yeah, we're trying to make our team, build our team with VSB players. Now you know what that means, family. I didn't know until today.
Young whippersnappers, we couldn't even throw the football.
we kicked the ball every 3 downs. Listen, a VSB player signed can also receive up to $167,500 in additional compensation that could be guaranteed, such as be given a signing bonus or roster bonus, and this doesn't count against the cap. So now the player's making $400,000, maybe $500,000 more, $500,000 more than they would with a basic, 5 years or less in the league veteran kind of deal, right? So VSB deals provide a cost-effective tool for teams, especially the Cowboys, to build their roster depth. That's the key here. Not your starters, roster depth. While sometimes able to pitch the free agents out there that have a chance to have a prove-it type of year, a prove-it deal, you use this to sign a prove-it deal with a player. If they if they do well in a situation, they can re-enter the market the next offseason, re-sign with the team. Okay. Bargain hunting and VSB deals are usually a waiting game. And that's why the Cowboys don't make moves early in. It sucks. I don't agree. I'm just explaining. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm explaining this.
It also explains why Hankins wasn't signed. So can you explain one more time what VSB. I said it again.
Veteran signing,
VSB. So veteran signing.
Bullshit. No, I'm just.
I almost said bonus. I'm like, that's not it.
Yeah, it's veteran salary benefit.
There you go, veteran salary benefit.
So you sign up a player has to be 7 years or more in the league. It can't be if he's 6 or 5. You're only getting like very little. I'm trying to see how much you get. You get I fucking lost it.
Don't confuse it. The point is, you at least 7 years.
Yeah,
that's the baseline to qualify as a
7
VSP.
plus years of accrued experience. They get paid the player gets $1.21 million, but on the cap, it only hits at you for $985,000. So you're saving a little over $200,000.
Yeah, let's say you make 3 moves for players like that. You more or less save almost $1 million in money that doesn't hit against your cap. If you sign 3 of these VSB players, because remember, $300,000 doesn't count
for the player, though. This is usually for an older player. Maybe he's not going to get a $2 million deal, so they settle for the $1.21 million deal. Mm-hmm. It helps the cap for the player for the team, so it's good for both sides, and the player can still get a roster bonus. Yep. Not a roster bonus, but I guess a signing bonus.
I'll give you an example.
Or a roster bonus of $167,000 because then that doesn't hit the cap. That just goes right to the player. So that these players that are older will settle for a deal like this to get the extra money and still help the team they're signing with. But they have to be 7 years. And they probably got to be shitty, too. They got to be below average, below the signing.
So, no, I was going to say, I'm going to give you a great example by using a very well-known Dallas Cowboy player. Not because this is what we actually did, but just here's a scenario where that would have happened. So, you remember Sean Lee, the last year that we had him? Right? Like, that's a situation where we could have done something like that, right? Because Sean Lee, we were not going to bring him back. He was going to retire. Health-wise, he already had some situations, and performance-wise, he was definitely below average because of that factor, right? The Cowboys could have used this VSB, I said it right that time, to bring him back for like that one final year type of thing or something. I'm just trying to give you an example of, how exactly could that work, or how the Cowboys would use it in like a real-time example. So, and I figured Sean Lee was a good one just because, again, the only reason we brought him back that last final year that we did is because he was willing to take the world's biggest pay cut and come play for like $5.
But that's my point. But the thing is, he still played for like $5 million or $4 million. He would never have signed a deal like this unless he was to the point where, for instance, Jonathan Hankins, a guy that at his position, for his ability, he's not going to break the $2 million anywhere he goes.
Exactly.
So he might just stay in Dallas for the 1.21 and get the extra $200,000 on top of that, and then only hurt the Cowboys for less than $1 million instead of $1.5 million.
Exactly. So any player
that's where I see it happening.
That we've said this before. If the money is more or less the same, give or take, maybe at most like $100,000, like we're talking.
Yeah.
When it comes to NFL terms, chump change, right? Where we're talking pennies in NFL terms. If all those factors are the same, it really does come down to the team, the organization, the salary benefit, exactly. So, because obviously, like you said, it's an incentive for the teams to bring you on.
Exactly. So when we talk about cap hits, do you know a team that has huge cap hits? At least, let's just talk about players. Deshaun Watson, $63.9 million cap hit this year. Dak Prescott, number 2, $59.4 million. Kyler Murray, $51.4 this year. Stafford, $49.5, and Daniel Jones, the fifth highest cap hit in this season. Daniel Jones, $47.1 million. Talk about bad deals. How about non-quarterback cap hits? Listen to this. Khalil Mack from the Chargers, $38.5 million. Joey Bosa from the Chargers, $36.6 million. Keenan Allen from the Chargers, $34.7 million. Aaron Donald from the Rams, $34.1 million. And Mike Williams from the Chargers, $32.4 million. 4 out of the top 5 names I just mentioned are from the Los Angeles Chargers. They have 4 of the top 5 highest non-quarterback hits in the NFL. That's insane. These 4 players make up 4 of the 5 largest non-QB cap hits in the NFL. LA is still $29 million over the cap. And today they're going to have to cut at least one, trade one, maybe. We'll see. But they released Mike Williams, their wide receiver. And a lot of people saying, I know Marco Sipian asked about him, I think, earlier. I'm not sold on him for the money. I think we could just stay with Jalen Tolbert or lower the Michael Gallup cost. But they're releasing him. The former top 10 pick is a free agent now for the first time in his career, and he's going to have a robust market for him. So that means a lot of money. That means the Cowboys are not going for him. On the books right now for a $32 million cap hit, now is a top free agent wide receiver. But again, getting paid $32 million from the Chargers might make him like a Russell Wilson kind of pickup. You pay him $2 or $3 million, and he's playing for you off of their dime. We'll see what happens. But basically, so the Chargers, a lot of tough salary cap decisions, and cutting Mike Williams clears their $20 million off the books, and now they're basically about $9 million, $8 million, over the cap right now. They got to get it under that. Williams is recovering from a torn ACL that he suffered in late September, so he's going to be hands off by a lot of teams. Talk about signing him for a real low deal. That's the only thing you can do because it's a high risk for him with that torn ACL in September. So we know about risks with torn ACLs and torn ligaments like Gallup. When you can come back, don't sign this guy. Do not sign Mike Williams. Now, Calvin Ridley out there. This is crazy, baby. The Titans are signing Jacksonville Jaguar star. Well, I guess he's a star, but he was in college and he took a year off and he had a gambling thing. Calvin Ridley from the Jaguars. He's now a Tennessee Titan. Okay. And listen, it's a stunning deal. Why? Because, first of all, Calvin Ridley's 29 years old. He gets a 4-year, $92 million deal.
Whoa, what the heck?
$50 million of that is fully guaranteed. Calvin Ridley has the second most guaranteed money out of any wide receiver in the NFL. What? What happened?
Okay,
That's insane. That's insane.
I'm going to assume a big part of that is because of that missed time. He might be 29, but in football terms, he's more like, let's say, 25, 26.
But is he football
With the
ready?
time that he's missed, he doesn't have the same mileage on his engine. So that's the only thing I can think of there. But holy shit, Tennessee definitely overpaid. I don't know what the heck they're doing.
They're banking a lot on him.
Since moving on from Vrabel, it feels like they're just kind of throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. I feel really bad for Titan Anderson, because I have a feeling he's going to have a really rough season this year.
They had a lot of good pickups, but some of them are going to miss with.
It seems like they're, again, I don't know their cap situation. It just seems like they're blowing a lot of money at
overspending on some guys.
On positions that I'm surprised that's where they chose to overspend at, like Tony Pollard, right?
Yeah.
Like Calvin Ridley.
Again, I don't even know how Calvin Ridley's going to. He's supposed to be great. He had some off years, of course. So they're paying a lot on a question mark situation.
Tyler Church would say it's really more like a 2-year deal.
Yeah, when you look at the guaranteed money, right? But still, that's a lot of money. I mean, you're talking about what, 92? That's 4 years. You're talking about what, like $23 million a year. So yeah, it's like 2 years plus a half, like a quarter of a third. You lose a little money in that third year. Still a lot of money. Still overpaying, in my opinion. The second most guaranteed money of any receiver in the league right now. The Ravens. Now this is crazy. They making deals and all these things. They reached out for the Niners about a trade for their star receiver Deebo Samuel. The Niners make that trade and get rid of Deebo Samuel to the Ravens. And now, they're going to have Henry with Lamar Jackson. They're going to try to get Deebo Samuel in there. Interesting. We'll see. They're looking at that. How about wide receiver Michael Thomas from the Saints? Former All-Pro. Offensive Player of the Year, Michael Thomas. They designated a post-June 1st release. You'll see that from Gallup probably in a couple days. But Michael Thomas, post-June 1st release, he failed a physical. So it looks like he's on his way out of the league in a way. Michael Thomas, not obviously a shell of what he used to be. Do not ask me about picking him up. I do not think we should, unless somehow it's a mistake on their side. But another player, a trade went down. We talked about the Texans improving their defense. Well, they traded former Cowboy Malik Collins. Yep, interior guy there. To which team? The 49ers. The Niners keep making moves. They got Malik Collins now. Sent to the Niners from the Texans. The compensation? Niners only sent a 7th-round pick to the Texans to get Malik Collins on their defensive line rotation, interior. Of course, they lost Eric Armstead and other people. What about a former Zimmer player, safety Harrison Smith, 6-time Pro Bowler? Harrison Smith agreed to restructure his contract, and he's going to play a 13th season with the Vikings. He's 35 years old, 29th pick of the 2012 draft. He has 34 career interceptions, one of the best safeties of his era. He's not done yet, but he is older. He's not as good as he was, but they restructured him so he stays in Minnesota. The Cardinals released veteran offensive tackle DJ Humphries, tore his ACL versus the Eagles on New Year's Eve. Not expected to be ready for the start of the season, so no, the Cowboys did not get DJ Humphries. I know they did make another move, the Cardinals, to replace him. I'll talk about that in a little bit later. The Raiders released wide receiver Hunter Renfrow before the new league year began today. He was in account against $13.7 million against the cap. Renfrow, along with Jimmy Garoppolo, are now free agents. So again, a lot of people said, "What about Renfrow coming to Dallas?" A lot of people like this move. You get a little man like a little Beasley replicant here, and Hunter Renfrow. They're saying that's the kind of bargain bin free agent at receiver the Cowboys clown show will go for. They're known for signing the bargain bin kind of guys, and he would be a lower, costing a wide receiver, a slot receiver there. So, just throwing that stuff around. Now, listen, defensively, the Bengals, they took away one of the last remaining. DJ Reader's looking for teams, but there's one guy there, Sheldon Rankins. I really liked him. He's getting a 2-year, $26 million deal. So $13 million a year. There's no way in hell Sheldon Rankins was going to come to the Cowboys. So a big payday, former first-round pick going to Cincinnati. He had 6 sacks last year from the inside. And let me just say, a big pickup to me was Bobby Wagner. All right, he went, at the time, I thought he went after Kendricks went to the Niners. And I forgot to show this, baby, but, when we got Kendricks, the Niners thought they had him, and they were like, no! Look at those Niner tears. You gotta love it. Fuck the Niners. Fuck the Niners.
Outside of it being just again, a move I like, a move I'm happy about, I have to admit it brings
rip them off?
A little extra joy to my heart to know that we basically took away, the Niners' newest shiny toy. I do admit I get joy from that.
Yes. We all are happy about that. So thank you, Niner Tears. We got Eric Kendricks, and they wanted him badly. They wanted him badly over there to replace Greenlaw, who's leaving. So, again, the only guy I thought we had left for was Bobby Wagner. He was signed, former Seattle Seahawk, perennial Pro Bowler, former Ram as well, All-Pro. This last year, Pro Bowler, most tackles in his career. I think it was 187 tackles last year. Signing a 1-year deal with Dan Quinn's Washington Commanders. Yeah? Like I said earlier, he's always wanted him for years. Now he finally got him, not because he wanted to ruin the Cowboy defense, because the Joneses didn't allow him to get Bobby Wagner for $6 million. Then he got, I think, a little bit. I think he got $6.5 million deal last year. He got a $1 million. He got a 1-year deal with the Commanders, a max value of $8.5 million, but it includes $6 million in guarantees. $6 million are guaranteed to give him. If he gets another freaking 180 tackles, he probably gets $8.5 million.
Was Renfrow picked up by the Texans?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
I'd have to check into that.
Yeah, Thomas Garrett, not sure.
Okay, so I'm not sure.
I'm taking you at your word, though, because I know you mentioned it a few times.
If Renfrow was picked up, then that's one less guy we even can go at. That was earlier today. But I was going to check through everything live with you guys at the end of this thing. So Bobby Wagner, though, is off the board, but we got Kendricks. I think Bobby Wagner's probably a little bit better version of Kendricks, but for this scheme, Kendricks is probably better to get in the mix in Zimmer's defense. So, again, Dan Quinn was with Bobby Wagner a decade ago in Seattle. Now they're back together. A splash signing for Washington. Dan Quinn was with Bobby Wagner. Again, he was there with him in Seattle, but so was Ken Norton Jr., who is there with the Commanders and Dan Quinn. So now that all three of them are back together, Commanders, get a good locker room guy in Bobby Wagner, a team leader, who's, by the way, been available in March for the last 3 years. Dan Quinn was here. Dan Quinn wanted him. I don't have a quote on that. But obviously he went to the Washington Commanders and wanted him and got him. When he was cheaper the last 3 years, the Cowboys did not want to spend the money for Dan Quinn. So even though we have our Dan Quinn issues, and we do, the bigger issue is the front office.
Exactly.
They did not allow Dan Quinn to get Bobby Wagner because he was quote-unquote too expensive at $6 million or $7 million. And this year, the Washington Commanders got him for $6 plus up to $8 million in incentives. I mean, Dan Quinn wanted him. What do you want me to say? Exactly what I thought would happen. The Cowboys, once again, fucking themselves because of the front office.
Ariana Grande. He's like, I want it. I got it.
Kicking news, baby. I know you love this, but I got to talk about it because it's the Eagles. Eagles and Jake Elliott, they reached an agreement on a 4-year, $24 million contract extension. The $6 million average per year that Elliott gets is tied with Justin Tucker for the highest paid kicker in NFL history.
Oh, so, he scores the most points on that team right now. So
yeah, Jake Elliott
look,
of the Eagles.
I want to hate it. I can't. I love Jake Elliott. I hate the team he plays for, but I respect what he does at the special teams position. And he is the type of kicker that is a game changer.
Yeah, he makes them all, basically.
Teams, other teams take him more seriously.
Jake Elliott is coming off a season where he connected. He connected on a career best 93.8% of his field goals. Of course,
but didn't he have some kind of record breaker this year?
I'm not sure.
Or am I misremembering?
I think you're misremembering, but
okay.
I do know one thing. Our kicker was better. Sorry. Fuck you, Jake Elliott. Brandon Aubrey was better than all you guys. Now the Butter Aubrey.
Sorry, I guess we've reached the singing part of the live stream.
The Tennessee Titans made one move, which I'm only bringing it up a kicker move because it's a former Cowboy, and I like this kicker, but we don't need a kicker. Nick Folk signed a 1-year, $3.755 million deal with the Tennessee Titans. It's a max $4.13 million with all the incentives. A big deal for the NFL's most accurate kicker in the last handful of years. Nick Folk, a former Dallas
I'm surprised
Cowboy.
He's still alive and kicking.
He's still kicking, right? So, again, now that I kind of went over like the main news of our Cowboys and relative to the Cowboy news, as we wrap this up tonight here on MCF, I'm going to go quickly through some of the other moves of the day where I might have missed a couple, like you just brought up. So let me just start up with this. We got Jerome Baker from the Dolphins scheduled to visit the Tennessee Titans. He's one of the big money guys. That's the plan for him there, guys. Now we got the Ravens. They are former All-Pro left tackle Ronnie Stanley have agreed and reworked his contract, so he's staying there in Baltimore. The Bills have agreed to terms with receiver Mac Hollins. So he's staying there, and again, more help for Josh Allen. I guess, yeah. He's not staying there, but he's signing with the Bills. So they got Mac Hollins again there. I think they're keeping the Colts are keeping linebacker safety Ronnie Harrison to the Colts on a 1-year deal. Morgan Moses, Ravens trading Morgan Moses to the Jets. Part of a pick swap. The Jets receive Moses and a 4th-round pick. The Ravens receive a 4th-round pick and a 6th-round pick. So take it for what you want there, guys. But the Jets, they solidify their offensive line, land 2 starters from the Ravens this week alone. Morgan Moses is expected to be the starting right tackle for the Jets now. Again, I talked about Malik Collins getting traded for a 7th-round pick to the Niners. Little Jordan Humphrey returning to the Broncos on a 1-year deal. We had Artie Burns, free agent cornerback. He's returning to the Seahawks on a 1-year deal. Former tight end from the Browns, Harrison Bryant, reached an agreement with the Raiders, replacing a Hooper over there with a 1-year, $3.25 million max deal of $4 million. The Commanders, another player, Jeremy Reeves, special teams specialist, re-signed there to the Washington Commanders on a 2-year deal. Kyle Juszczyk reached an agreement. Restructured contract is going to free up about $1.75 million against salary cap for the Niners. Jannard Avery is returning to the Colts on a 1-year deal. The Bills defensive back Siran Neal has agreed to terms on a contract with the Dolphins. Talked about Mike Williams already. The Bengals are releasing safety Nick Scott, signed with them in last year during free agency after helping the Rams win a Super Bowl. Now he's a free agent, Nick Scott. Georgia cornerback... Oh, no. Okay, I'm sorry. That was that's another thing there. But we got, what other players were signed and moved? Oh, yeah, 8-time Pro Bowl defensive end, the player of the year. Khalil Mack is remaining with the Chargers, one of the guys that were not sure when they released Mike Williams. He's staying, though, Khalil Mack. Punter, Thomas Morstead, getting a 2-year deal worth over $5 million. He's the one that runs down the field every time he punts the ball. And all the deals became official throughout the day. Bears agreed to terms with former Rams and Broncos quarterback Brett Ripken, a 1-year deal. Raiders officially released Garoppolo, Hoyer, 2 quarterbacks for them. Hunter Renfrow and Tilly at the start of the league here. Calvin Ridley, like I said, he got a huge deal. No, that's a crazy deal to me. Cardinals released DJ Humphries. We talked about that issue he had. Oh, yeah, that's right. Comeback player of the year. And former Browns quarterback and Ravens quarterback Joe Flacco reached an agreement with the Indianapolis Colts to be the backup there. It's a one-year deal worth up to $8.7 million, including $4.5 million guaranteed. Flacco is going to Indy, backing up Anthony Richardson. Former Bengals offensive tackle Jonah Williams. And the Cardinals lost an offensive lineman. They got an offensive lineman. Jonah Williams, offensive tackle, signing a 2-year, $30 million deal. Includes $19 million in guarantees with the Cardinals. So big move there, about $15 million a year. Free agent defensive lineman Kevin Givens returning to the Niners on a 1-year deal. Let's see here. I know we got the Kendricks move. That's where we're at. Sheldon Rankins closing in on a deal with the Bengals, which sucks. Former Houston Texan. I would like Rankins to come to Dallas. All we got is DJ Reader, and he's looking at the Tennessee Titans, I said. So it don't look good. Does not look good for us getting any kind of nose tackle in free agency other than like a Hankins type, right? So not great there. Now we also, I think that's it from, let me see if there's any other moves there. Let me just double check everything, guys, because you know me. I want to make sure I got everything up to date. I don't want to come off, give you guys any wrong information. But, yeah, I mean, I think I'm caught up. I'm double checking on that Renfro move right now, guys, for you. Not seeing it, though. I'm going to be honest. Not seeing that move yet. Let's see here if I missed it. I do appreciate everybody here as we're wrapping this up. Hit that like, hit subscribe, and hit that notification bell, just in case you haven't done it already. It helps the analytics. It helps the channel. So make sure you do that. Subscribe. Keep growing the channel. We're at over 34,000 subscribers, which I call family members here in MCF. Cannot do this without your guys' love and support in all paths here. So thank you. Your comments, your thoughts, everything. Double checking one last source here, guys, but it looks Jordan Fuller, free agent safety, guys, a guy we talked about. He's visiting the Panthers later this week. Rayshon Jenkins lands in Seattle 8 days after the Seahawks released their safeties, Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs. So former veteran safety from the Jacksonville Jaguars, now at Seattle. Harrison Smith, yeah, he got a deal for $9 million, restructured that. I talked about that a little bit. Let me see if I missed anything else. No deal for Hunter Renfrow as of now. So, again, I didn't mean to. I want to make sure we get everything right. But if whoever heard, I think, was it Tyrone Church who said that they heard something happened? Because it sounds like nothing happened. Renfrow is still a free agent. It's still available. DJ Reader is still available, although he's going to see a team tomorrow. So, I think it's the Bengals. So it looks like everybody's kind of getting scooped up, and we're running out of options, especially at offensive line and defensive line, nose tackle spot. So that's kind of my 2 cents there. Man, I went through them all. The wife had to head out, guys. She knows this stuff. This part takes a while. It's extra late for her, so she's doing lighting the candle at both ends here right now. She's off. She said, "Go Cowboys," as I went to my kind of check of the day and moves. I appreciate everybody in the house. Let me go through the names here as we do a pseudo comments and shout out session here. First off, Matt Batten in the house. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the thoughts out there. Whether we agree or disagree, we all want to win that 6 and beyond. Tyrone Church in the house. Let Mozzie back up Osa. Mozzie got to back up anyone in there, and I would rather he back up the nose tackle spot and put the weight back on. Thomas Garrett in the house. Armstead is going to want a lot of money. Eric Armstead's going to want a lot of money. The Joneses will not pay that money. Pioneer in the house. Mike Aldana, Tyrone Church, Matt Batten, Cheese Louise, 23 here with us. Who else we got in here? We got the wife who was in here chatting with you guys. Seabass over everything in the house. MF Doom. What happens to their cap when he releases? Well, we're not going to sign Mack. Marlon Mack, is that what you want? No, who is it? Khalil Mack? Not me. No, he's staying with the Chargers, if that's what it is. The ligament crew, yeah. We got ligament issues on this team. Pioneer, Jerry Jeudy, yeah, he's gone to the Browns, right? In the trade, Tyrone Church, Cheese Louise, and Matt Aldana. Who else we got? See Bass wishing his team didn't stop at the Goodwill drop-off center. I'm telling you, it's fucking frustrating. Thomas Garrett in the house, the superior Garrett, said, I think Renfro was picked up by the Texans. I checked on that for you, and no, not yet. He may be picked up tomorrow by the Texans. Right now, no. Thank you, Matt Batten. I'm happy you're here tonight with us. It's Cowboy Nation, the Cowboy Family. I call it the fan base. I call it here the Cowboy Family. It's got to stick together. It's about that star over everything. I don't care how we win a Super Bowl. We just got to win it. I don't care if we do it with Jason Garrett. I don't care if we do it with Dak Prescott. I care if we do it with me doing fucking upside down jumping jacks. But I just want to do it. I don't care if it's Jerry's plan and it's right. Let's just win a fucking Super Bowl. Tokyo in the house. And he's verifying that Renfro was not picked up by anyone yet. That's right, Matt. That's why I love this discussion. That's why I love this channel. It's almost 7 years, and that's how we do it for the discussions. We just want to win. And I love it. Seabass in the house. Seabass with the drops of knowledge in the chat. Tokyo, and he never missed again. When we talking about Mr. Butter Aubrey over there, right? Thank you, Matt. I'm glad you enjoying the show. Cheese Louise in the place to bees. No extra special tonight. Last night we had a crazy MCF After Dark. If you guys missed it, you missed a classic. I mean, it was a rated X one, I guess you can say, to an extent, but what a show it was last night. I appreciate everybody who made it a great one. And I was only planning on to go like an hour and a half, 2 hours at most, almost 4 hours. It's crazy. So, yeah, not much sleep for all MCF either today. So, but as I said, guys, a lot of fun. I got to take a break on. I'll be on Masha's or other channels tonight and probably go back to the After Dark thing at Friday, Saturday night. We're going to have some fun shows. After Dark, MCF After Dark. Now, here we're going to have fun shows because it's Cowboys 24/7, 365. You know how it goes here. So, yeah, and if you're not sure about Mr. After Dark, you know where to go, guys. I think After Dark is around here poking his eyeballs out. But he'll be around After Dark, my alter ego. Ooh, Trigger Man, as Ready Red says. I see Ready Red in the house. Appreciate you. Seabass said, let's go back to the car analogy, yeah. The wife made a great analogy there, Matt Bannon. We need to get Tart or DJ Reader. I don't count on Reader. I would say count on Hankins. And I'm sure there's a couple of guys floating around out there too. Isaiah Bugs. These are guys to kind of fill up the same role. I think we need 3: Mozzie, and then Hankins, and then one more. And not in the draft, please. I want to stop the run, Matt, and so do I. That's why we need to get that defensive tackle. And we got a linebacker that can do it. Seabass said Bobby Wagner can be washed or declining. His production is still Pro Bowl. Career best 187 tackles. And the best in the league in tackles. I mean, that's something to say there. He still got it. That was literally this past season. I hear you, Matt. Ready Red in the house. Yeah, we're not going to make it. We're not setting ourselves. We're telling everybody, do not expect. A.J. Dillon is maybe the next pick for the Cowboys, and we'd be like, okay, $3.5 million for A.J. Dillon. That's the moves the Cowboys are making. They ain't making no $8 million moves out there. I'm telling you this. And Ready Red saying it, but I've been saying it for fucking since Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones walked back their bullshit all-in comments. Not traded, not picked up yet. Mike Aldana, verifying there. Tokyo. Hopefully we sign a running back. I say, and the defensive tackle tomorrow. We'll see if there's anybody even available for the Cowboys. Eyes are heavy for Choctaw. Take care, brother. Appreciate you. It's over here. We're closing it out. Hell yeah, man. We just need. That's all we need. And Matt Bannon's agreeing. That's all we need. It's simple as that. Ready Red said, Montana, I don't want to say we're signing blank. Yeah, I just say I'd like to sign this guy. I'd like to sign guy. How about this guy? But if you say I want to sign the top 5 guys that are out there, you're just going to set up yourself up for disappointment with this team. We ain't doing that. Draft only, said Ready Red. Pretty much. I mean, Eric Kendricks is someone you can't draft. That gives you the scheme experience, the connection with the coach, the leadership, the green dot in the helmet. You're just not going to get that from the draft, right, Ready Red? So this is a good pickup, but that's all. Nothing's going to be mind-blowing. It's going to be, what we're going to do is make expected moves. Eric Kendricks is the most expected move the moment he was released from the Chargers 2 weeks ago. So it just made it more exciting because the fucking Niners, the Niners had signed him, and then they started crying when they realized, he said, fuck you, San Francisco 49ers. I'm going to Dallas with my old coach, Mike Zimmer, because I can take the shit, unlike our other guys that ran head for the hills to Washington, like Neville Gallimore or other places. Gallimore left, but Fowler, Biotish, Armstrong, they went to Washington because they can't take the Zimmer pressure. Well, Kendricks wants it. I'll take him. That's a good pickup for the Cowboys. Not great, but a solid, good damn pickup. Chiefs re-signed defensive tackle Mike Pennell. Man, I didn't even know they re-signed him, but that's a damn good player right there. Brandon, I know he likes the Chiefs, but damn, that's a good player. And again, I would have loved the Cowboys to pick up Mike Pennell for $3 million or something like that. But no, Of course not. We'll probably talk about his deal tomorrow and get those numbers. Matt Batten says we need at least 2 defensive tackles. Agree. One in the draft, and I mean not one in the draft, but one higher level guy and one chancy risk guy, along with Mozzie as our third in the mix. So we'll see. Tart, Hankins, Reader if he's available, which I doubt. We'll even pay for him. So yeah. Seabass said Jerry should have saved that all-in trick for a different year, man. This was too soon. Cowboy fans were hot and not forgiving anyone. That is what the Joneses love to do. They love to keep the hate going. Have a good night, Choctaw, Montana. Matt Batten, much love to you. Have a great night. Yep, Tart is cheap. I think Isaiah Buggs is cheap. I think there's a lot of guys out there we can get, especially Hankins. All these guys are under $2 million easy. Reader is like $8 million. So I don't see that happening, but he's talking with the Bengals, so he's probably signing there tomorrow. Tokyo said, do you think Gilmore returns to pair up with Diggs? I think that's a fair assessment. I said that about Tyron Smith, and it ain't happening yet, so we'll see. But since Tyron Smith's not getting what he's wanting out there, he may just come back to Dallas. Maybe Gallup takes a pay cut and takes only $4 million, comes back to Dallas. Maybe Stephon Gilmore comes back to Dallas on a $7-8 million deal. Then we're having a free agency that is at least keeping us afloat. Not better, but afloat. And then in some places, a little better with Eric Kendricks than LVE. So that's the way I see it. Guys, thank you for rocking it with me tonight and the wife. We'll be back tomorrow for more. Again, this week is a full-fledged MCF 7-day week, it feels like. So stay tuned with us. We ain't stopping till we dropping. So thank you all for dropping your knowledge in the chat all night long and your drops of love from above, helping the channel out. Let me shout out those that dropped the love tonight. Stanley Smith in the Cash App, rocking the spot. Dwayne Broussard, Dustin Roberts, Clark motherfucking Kent, Brandon J., and of course Mark Hovsepian, who is literally right now in first place on the overall board. 100 points on the Stream Boss, trying to recapture that sponsor of the week, which right now it's owned by the Bram Man, Jeremy Bramlett, who's not just a sponsor of the week. He's back at that OG spot he always had back 4 or 5 years ago. But he's also got a new spot on the board, the Membership Gifting King. Appreciate you, Bram Man. He also had that Stream Boss. As you can see, Mark has taken that over. He's taken it all over. On the overall board, he is the current leader, Mark Hovsepian, so he's eyeballing that sponsor of the week. And don't forget the Cash App King. That one is a streak still a-going. And that's by McLovin. You know, my guy. Much love to McLovin. He has a 5-week streak right now. And he's also going for 6 because he got the lead right now on that board. Although he's second place on the overall board behind Mark Hovsepian by a little bit. On the Cash App board, he's in front of Marissa Sparkle and many others. Jason Renfro, Stanley Smith. McLovin's in the lead on the Cash App board, trying to make it 6 in a row. Not just 5 on it like he has now. He wants that 6 and beyond. Even a Dolphin fan wants to experience what it feels like to be a Cowboy fan. You know how that goes. Thank you all again here for ripping and rocking it with me here. The people that drop the love, the people that are on the boards. The shout-outs I've already done. LC in the house. Hell yeah. Let's go, LC. You know it. Appreciate you. The late night, man. I'm just going to get chill tonight on other channels, I think, LC. I don't think I'm doing an After Dark. But Friday, Saturday, it's going to be a fun After Dark, and I'm sure we'll be rocking back and forth on the channels. So it'll be fun. Subscribe to that guy right there, LC, one of our star-level members, by the way. Don't forget. Much love to you guys. Thank you. I can't do it tonight, man. Unless there's nothing going on, then I may go play some music on After Dark at most. It ain't going to be not going to let it be a crazy 4-hour stream. But when it does go that route, it is fucking fun. And there's some crazy shit that goes down. So I'm just saying, if you want to be in on it, guys, go over there, sneak over there, subscribe, and put the notification bell on, just in case. On that note, it is time to shut it down for the night. And guys, thank you for dropping your thoughts. Brandon J in the house. Isaiah, Chiefs, Isaiah Buggs, they didn't sign him. I think they let him. I think he was just signed for the end of the year, and then they let him go. I think he's an unrestricted free agent. I'll check it tomorrow. Show's over for tonight, guys. Thank you for 2.5 hours of very important free agent news for the Cowboys. Finally, a pickup. We discussed it in every single way. But here, all good things must come to an end, guys. So why do we do this each and every night here in My Cowboys Family? It's about that navy blue, that silver too, and that star over everything. Win, lose, or draw, good, bad, or ugly. Here on this channel, we rep that star over everything. And yes, for almost 7 years, July 1st, 7 years on YouTube, crazy up and downs we've had. We're still rocking that star over everything here on My Cowboys Family, where it's always about that, the star over everything, navy blue. But never forget, as always, your Cowboys. Let's get that 6 and beyond. Thank you all for dropping your knowledge in the chat all night long. Truly humbled by the drops of love from above. Can't do this without your guys' love and support as we building and build. We just keep rolling with this thing into our 7th year almost. As we clock out and drop out for the night, relock and reload for another one tomorrow, free agent frenzy. Before we can drop out of here for the night, as the wife always says, and I'm saying it for her tonight, before we can drop out for the night, we got to drop the beat. Oh, yeah, that beat's been dropped. Yeah, guys, thank you once again. Can't do this without you guys. As we wrap up of another full power-packed day of Cowboys news, info, and updates, all wrapped up here in a 2-hour-ish block. Wrapped up here, another Cowboys chat. Niners fans crying, the 40 whiners, I love it. Fuck the Niners. Gallimore, Neville Gallimore, peace, see you later. He's with the Dolphins. South Beach. Jerry Jones, he's got his own problems, court cases. He's giving a thumbs up because we got number 6 from the Chargers, number 54 from the Vikings, Eric Kendricks, teaming him up with Mike Zimmer. And hopefully not too much money. We still got a lot of money left up there, even though Jerry Jones is hoarding it all. We talked about it all tonight. We're going to talk about it more tomorrow, right here. An MCF, right here in My Cowboys Family. An MCF where it's about that navy blue. That silver, too, and that star over everything. Never, ever, ever forget the number one thing here in My Cowboys Family. Much love to the family. Everybody in the house here with us. Appreciate you all. 80-something, almost 90+ in the house. Thank you all once again. Can't do this without you all. Make sure you don't forget to hit that like button for the stream. It helps the analytics. Make sure you hit subscribe if you're new. 34,000 and beyond. Keep it growing. And, of course, that notification bell. Put it on to all videos so you know when we're going live on the nightly. Thank you again, guys. Follow us on all social media at My Cowboys Family, Twitter, X. Go in the Discord. All the information is in our description down below. Watching us in the replay, put a comment down below as well. I'll at least like or love it or answer it. Stay safe, everyone. Much love to all. Have a great night. See you on After Dark sometime soon. Peace. And never, ever forget, Go Cowboys!